The era of universal contracts has arrived, a time where heaven and hell coexist, opportunities to rise to the top and dangers deadly enough to destroy. Bloodthirsty beasts run rampant, malevolent gods spread their contamination, and factions fight over followers. To live is the only hope, to die means losing everything. Suddenly, a cold mechanical voice erupted in the minds of everyone on Earth. The next second, a flash of white light engulfed everything. All individuals were decomposed into data and forcibly dragged into a massive vortex. When my vision cleared, I found myself in a dilapidated wooden cabin. The contract world initialization is complete. Starting location, Novice Village number 803. Notice, each novice village can accommodate 10,000 people. Notice, novice cabins are protected by rules. No one can enter without permission. Notice, recovery speed inside cabins is doubled. Notice, your attribute template has been generated. A series of notifications popped up one after another, flooding my brain with information. The contract world is a multidimensional system. The higher the dimension, the more terrifying the beings that inhabit it. Earth was forcibly dragged into the sequence of worlds, provisionally placed in Dimension 1. For now, it was protected by rules of the system and granted resources. A translucent panel suddenly appeared before me, presenting only two options: personal information and chat channel. Name, Su-chun. Cultivation level, 1 day. Contract spirit, none. Shared ability, none. Combat power assessment, 1 star. Notice, you are very weak. However, you have 1 chance for an initial contract. Activate. I stared at the line of text, my heartbeat pounding so fast it felt like it might break through my chest. Everyone had a single opportunity for an initial contract, but the result was entirely random. What you'd summon depended entirely on luck. Strength wasn't determined by yourself, but by your contracted entity. Was it powerful enough, vicious enough? And contracts weren't limited to just one. As long as you survived and grew stronger, you could potentially even form a contract with an entity from the lofty 7th dimension. I clenched my teeth. This world is brutal, but damn exciting. It's all riding on my first contract. Just don't let it be some trash. Murmuring to myself, I activated the initial contract. With a hum, the space before me rippled as 5 options materialized, from Dimension 1 to Dimension 5. I frowned. Didn't the information say there were 7 dimensions? Why are there only 5 here? The remaining 2 dimensions must carry even greater risks. I first opened the options from Dimension 5. Mutated Black Dragon, Mutated Titan Ape, Flaming Golden Rock. All options were half-deity-grade creatures. Yet every single contract probability was a flat 0%, with an additional warning: failure to contract would result in completely losing the initial chance. Scanning through the list, I understood instantly. This tier wasn't leaving any openings for survival at all. Holding out a sliver of hope, I moved downward. Dimension 4, probability 0%. Dimension 3, probability 0%. Dimension 2, probability 0%. Finally, Dimension 1 remained. Only here did I see percentages above 0. But after looking through the list, there was only one creature with a 100% chance of being successfully contracted: a spider. The rest of the options barely touched 50%. My face darkened immediately. My luck is that bad? The only guaranteed success is a spider. If there was even a 70% option, I'd gamble on it. But failure in the first contract opportunity meant no second chances. I had no choice but to grit my teeth and choose the spider. A notification rang out. Congratulations! You've successfully acquired your first contract spirit, miniature spider. In a flash of light, the spider crawled out of the interface. What looked reasonable on the panel turned ridiculous in reality. My face grew even darker. The spider was no bigger than a fingernail, snow white, with a cartoony design so absurd it felt like satire. Damn it. Am I really supposed to rely on this thing to fight monsters and grow stronger? I let out a frustrated curse, feeling like my future was as bleak as it could get. With a resigned sigh, I opened its detailed information. Miniature spider, unnamed. Bond level, 100. Classification, dark sequence. Cultivation level, 0 days. Stats, strength 0.5, agility 1, Constitution 0.4, Spirit 1. Talent, none. Skill, web weaving. Summary. Even the humblest life forms can grow stronger with care. Nurture it well. One day, it may evolve into something truly horrifying. Staring at the panel, despair clawed at my heart. This thing is so weak. Suddenly, a cold, mechanical voice rang in my mind. Detected. Host has obtained the first contract spirit with 100 bond level. The ultimate empowerment return system is now activating. A system? My heart seized, and I immediately straightened, my focus sharpening. I swiftly opened the system's details. Ultimate Empowerment Return System. Function: transfers the host's cultivation level to the contract spirit and randomly returns a multiplied value back to the host. Condition: bond level must reach 100. Usage limit: once per day. Usage is available today, January 1st. I gasped aloud, my mind spinning as I processed the implications. I only had 1 day of cultivation level right now. If I transferred it to the spider, and if I hit a 100x multiplier on the return, my own cultivation level could skyrocket to 100 in an instant. The next day, with 100 days of cultivation, I could repeat the process and, even if I only draw a 2x return, I can still gain 200 days. The key lies in the fact that this process can be repeated daily. My cultivation will snowball, growing larger and larger until it becomes an astronomical figure in no time. Thinking about this, I could no longer contain my excitement. I gritted my teeth and smiled. With this system, even the most trash-tier contract spirit can be turned into a monster by me. Without hesitation, I initiated empowerment for the tiny spider. Ding! Empowerment successful. Your cultivation minus 1 day. Contract spirit, tiny spider cultivation plus 1 day. As soon as the empowerment ended, a roulette wheel appeared before me. The multipliers ranged from 2 to 100, and the word start was written at the center. With a thought, I immediately pressed start. Click, click, click. The pointer began spinning wildly before gradually slowing down. I stared at the roulette intensely, my heart pounding in my chest. Finally, the pointer stopped at the number 7. This meant I got a 7x multiplier. Random return reward, 7x. Your current cultivation, 7 days. In the blink of an eye, my cultivation went from 1 day to 7 days. However, the actual gain was only 6 days since the 1 day of cultivation I had been consumed during the empowerment. A surge of warmth rushed into my body, sudden and intense. I could clearly feel my body getting stronger, my life essence being forcibly elevated to a whole new level. So this is 7 days of cultivation. Impressive. I suppressed my excitement, my eyes gleaming. But in the next second, my expression darkened. The system was my unique cheat, but the rules of this world were universal, unchangeable for everyone. Cultivation, where does it originate? How do ordinary contractors enhance themselves? How do they evolve their contract spirits? Everything must be discovered on one's own. The universal will that reconstructed this world merely gave us the most basic setup. This world consists of 7 dimensions. The higher the dimension, the more terrifyingly advanced the life forms. The first dimension is the lowest, where life is as insignificant as ants. The 5th dimension already constitutes demigod-like beings. The 6th and 7th dimensions are beyond imagination. Since Earth was transformed into a first-dimensional contract-based world, there must be an evolution system in place. But is it through practicing techniques, consuming rare resources, or grinding like in a game? I currently have no clue. As I pondered, I suddenly remembered the chat channel located next to my personal information. Let's check the chat channel first. With that thought, the chat window for newbie village number 803 popped open. What the hell? What's going on? I ended up contracting a pet pig. Are you kidding me? Ha ha ha. Well, at least a pig can be eaten if you're starving. I contracted a mutated frost wolf, a rare species of the first dimension. Damn, such good luck. Are there any other big shots who've struck gold? What rotten luck. I contracted a monkey. Mine's a 5-step snake. Anything with the word mutated in it seems to be rare. But mine's just a mantis, a bug of all things. This sucks. Why is no one bragging yet? Could it be that the strongest contract spirit in our 803 newbie village is a mutated frost wolf? Exactly. Is anyone here lucky enough to contract a creature from the 2nd dimension? Come on, show off a bit. All right, since you're all asking for it. I, Zhang Ming, won't hide anymore. Second dimension dark sequence species. Mutated bloodthirsty vine, plant type. I'll join the flexing. Zhou Sun, second dimension light sequence. Hammer of retribution, weapon type. Whoa, you can even contract weapons. What kind of logic is that? Are you dumb? Contracts can include anything. Powerful weapons come with their own spirits. It's similar to blood-binding contracts. It's just that the rest of us are unlucky. Got it. Everything is contractable. Now, is there anyone lucky enough to get something from an even higher dimension? Spill it. The regional channel exploded instantly, and everyone was busy comparing their contract spirits. I scrolled through for a long time, but noticed that no one mentioned how to level up. I couldn't help but type, "Doesn't anyone care about how to level up?" Someone quickly responded, "Level up? Try stepping out of the wooden cabin first." I was stunned for a moment and immediately moved to push the door. In the next second, a cold mechanical voice echoed in my mind. "In 27 minutes, you will be able to leave the wooden cabin and begin the contractor assessment." Assessment task. Within 10 days, both you and your contract spirit must achieve 10 years of cultivation. Failing to meet the requirement will result in annihilation. Outstanding performance will be rewarded. Simultaneously, an evolution system explanation popped up. Defeat monsters, obtain rare resources, and practice techniques to gain spiritual power. At the same time, a rusty dagger materialized in front of me. Although I felt reluctant, I reached out and grabbed the weapon. Knife. Beginner's short blade. Attack +1, tier 0. I misunderstood the test as a mission, killing monsters as farming mobs, and treasures and techniques as loot rewards. But I grasped the deadliest aspect of all. There's no resurrection here. Failing the assessment means actual death. The more I tried to piece it all together, the more off it felt, like I had somehow walked into a brutal death game with unknown rules. Within 10 days, both my contract familiar and I must reach a cultivation of 10 years, or total erasure. If killing monsters yields meager cultivation progress, then this is nothing short of a death sentence. My heart sank. The infusion system is undoubtedly strong, but it grows increasingly beneficial over time. And time is exactly what it demands the most. Yet this first challenge only grants 10 days. Most people in this beginner village probably won't even make it, unless someone gets ridiculously lucky and bonds with a higher dimensional creature. But for average folks, that's an absurdly unfair expectation. Even I couldn't maintain a good demeanor. After all, the creature I contracted with, a spider, had an incredibly low starting point. Guess I'll have to take it one step at a time, I thought. I summoned my personal details screen to check my updated status post-contract. Name, Su Chun. Cultivation, 7 days. Contract familiar, Ultra Mini Spider, unnamed. Symbiotic ability, option, web spinning. At current cultivation, a maximum of 3 abilities can be shared. Battle rating, 1 star. Notice, you have 1 remaining contract opportunity. Would you like to activate it? No name? Then I'll call you White Weaved. I tossed out a name casually, redirecting my focus to the shared ability section. Since the spider only had 1 skill, web spinning, I had no options to deliberate over and selected it immediately. A faint vibration rippled through my body. Symbiosis successful, web spinning. Effect, can shoot a silk thread with a tensile strength 10 times your body weight, up to 30 meters in length. Limitation, due to the contract familiar's low cultivation, only 1 thread can currently be controlled. I raised my hand toward the door and made a firing gesture. In an instant, a fine silk thread shot out and stuck firmly to the door panel. I gave it a strong tug. The thread didn't budge an inch. The strength was indeed impressive. With this ability, things might not be so dire when the trial begins. A faint smile crept onto my face. Notice, initial contracts for beginner village number 803 have concluded. Contracted first dimension creatures, 9,730. Contracted second dimension creatures, 238. Contracted third dimension creatures, 2. Contracted fourth dimension creatures, 0. Contracted fifth dimension creatures, 0. Just as I finished testing my symbiotic ability, the announcement echoed within my mind. It was a public notice for all members of beginner village number 803. I stared at those numbers and let out a cold chuckle. Out of 10,000 people, only 2 managed to bond with a third-dimension creature. The rest, they're most likely cannon fodder. My mood grew heavier. If the trials were simple, fine, but if the difficulty were too intense, there probably wouldn't be more than a handful survivors from this crowd. Worse still, humans are naturally inclined to fight amongst themselves. Until I've accumulated enough to secure my safety, there's no way I'll risk contact with other contractors lightly. After some thought, I opened up the chat channel. The place had already descended into chaos. Only 2 third-dimension creatures in the whole village? That's just brutal. Almost everyone's contracted a first-dimension life form, and we're supposed to hit 10 years cultivation in 10 days? Are they trying to kill us? First-dimension creatures are just cannon fodder. Don't wait to die. Hurry up and team up. My contract familiar is a poodle. Anyone want to squat up? I've got a Siamese cat, speed type, looking for a group. King Cobra here. Any takers for a team up? Any seniors out there with high-dimension contracts? I'm a girl, and I'm willing to do anything to pass this test. Would the 2 folks with third-dimension creatures care to show off and let us peek at your monsters? Suddenly, someone named Yi Xiaoyan made a post. Want to see a third-dimension creature? My contract beast is a black sequence skeleton knight. Undead type. First ability, death charge. Is that enough to make you kneel? The channel exploded instantly. Damn, a pro. Please let me join your team. I'll follow your every command from now on. Big bro, Yi Xiaoyan, please help me pass. I'm a girl. I glanced briefly at the chatter. It was nauseatingly noisy. Without hesitation, I closed out the channel. There's 10 minutes left before the trial begins. I meticulously analyzed the symbiotic ability. It was my only lifeline in this early stage. There's no way I'd win in direct confrontation with predator types. I'd have to outplay them through strategy. If the web threads were used intelligently, I could maneuver through small spaces, scaling walls, and leaping past obstacles. At the very least, I wouldn't be trapped by terrain. Even better, if I used it cleverly. By utilizing the toughness and stealth of a spider's silk, it can easily be set up as a deadly throat-slitting trap. Imagine a taut kite string drawn across the road. If a vehicle rushes through, the rider's neck might be severed instantly. That's why I need to master this technique as quickly as possible. If I run into a strong opponent early on, it'll be a dead end for me. The moment arrived, and the sound of a system prompt exploded in my ears. Ding! Universal contract initialization complete. The assessment officially begins. From this moment, you can leave the cabin and enter the safe zone of the rookie village to begin hunting. The wooden door creaked open slowly. I lifted my eyes and glanced outside. Rows of log cabins were neatly aligned in the village, and standing in front of nearly every door was a contracted participant of 803 Rookie Village. But nobody dared to rush out immediately. Instead, they lingered hesitantly by their doors, glancing around, almost like waiting for someone braver to take the first step. Only when the first person nervously stepped forward did the others follow, surging en masse toward the massive square ahead. I blended into the crowd, walking closer, and soon I could hear the chaos erupting in the square. Reaching 10 years of cultivation level for both us and our contract spirits within 10 days? Might as well tell us to go die now. This drop rate is absurd. Even private servers wouldn't dare set it this harsh. Stop complaining. Whatever the conditions are, wasting a single second is like digging your own grave. Survive first, gripe later. Forming a team. My contracted spirit is a feral wolf, with a symbiotic ability to beastify and bite, looking for teammates who can tank and deal strong damage. Amidst the swearing that echoed all around, the calls to form teams began drowning out the complaints. Small groups of 2 or 3 quickly formed, and without hesitation, they dashed toward the areas outside the safety barrier, as though falling behind meant being left for dead. But I didn't move. I controlled my breathing and scanned the crowd carefully, trying to pinpoint the 2 people who had contracted third-dimensional creatures. It didn't take long for me to realize this was futile. Contracted spirits could be summoned or kept hidden. Unless their spirits were openly displayed, I couldn't identify my targets among the crowd. There was no way for me to strike preemptively. After confirming there were no overt signs of a third-dimensional spirit in the crowd, I turned and began walking outward. Hey buddy, you're heading out alone? And you didn't even summon your spirit? You must be someone important. Which dimension's your contract spirit from? A man called out, jogging over to stop me, his tone filled with probing curiosity. I paused, looking him over. Are you talking to me? The man immediately introduced himself. Name's Wang Ning, contracted with a mutated fledgling eagle. First dimension, but it's a rare breed. This world is way too unpredictable, and the trial is brutal. We've put together a team. Minimum standard is first dimension rare mutations. If you're second or third dimension, that'd be even better. Interested in joining us? I got the gist. They were teaming up to survive. I opened my palms. Sorry, I've only got an ordinary spider. First dimension. Not rare. Doesn't meet your requirements. Without another word, I turned and walked away, not bothering to explain further. As I left, a few people standing near Wang Ning huddled up, muttering quietly. A spider? And he's acting this cocky. Walking out solo with just a spider? That's a death wish if I've ever seen one. Wang Ning, what do you think? Wang Ning lowered his voice, addressing a girl who approached them last with obvious respect. Miss, he didn't summon his spirit. We can't confirm what he said, but I just have this feeling. He's got serious confidence. The girl nodded. Ignore him. Let's move out. Although I didn't draw a higher dimensional contract spirit, I had the infusion feedback system in my corner. As long as I stayed cautious, I could survive even as a lone wolf. Beyond the glowing barrier lay a dense forest, towering trees so thickly covered by leaves that sunlight struggled to filter through. The air was damp and cold, a mist swirling eerily amongst the trunks. To others, this might be a death trap. But to me, it was a perfect hunting ground. Using my silk thread ability, I could turn the terrain into a carefully laid ambush. And even if I encountered threats beyond my abilities, I could always eject my threads as a lifeline to create distance and escape. I stood at the edge of the barrier, meticulously observing my surroundings. Suddenly, a notification echoed sharply in my mind. Announcement: Newcomer, Lin Meow Meow, has been slain by Tier 1 serrated rat. Announcement: Newcomer, 2 Kuei, has been slain by Tier 1 serrated rat. Announcement: Newcomer, Zhou Hu, has been slain by Tier 1 serrated rat. My heart sank violently. People were dying already, and not just one, but 3 in quick succession. This wasn't a case of someone accidentally wandering into a rat nest and getting overwhelmed. No, this felt like a single target being hunted, one by one. I immediately opened the communication channel. Shit, is that a wipeout? I knew 2 Kuei, his contract spirit was a pit bull. No way he'd be taken out this fast. Look how close the deaths are. Clearly, it wasn't simultaneous. This thing's picking them off one by one. Calling this a rookie trial is a joke. A single Tier 1 serrated rat managed a triple kill? I'm done. Send me home, please. Stop going off alone. We need to form a big team. The more people we have, the safer we'll be. We're not some big shots who've made contracts with higher dimensional entities. Everyone, gather at the square in the starter village. Expand the team. Let's add another 10 people. The group chat instantly exploded. Those small teams of 3 to 5 were in complete disarray. Many people who had just left the safe zone turned around immediately, ready to join a larger group for protection. But I stayed calm and carefully analyzed the situation again. If even a pit bull couldn't protect its master, that meant first-tier monsters firmly overpowered domesticated companions and contract creatures like pets. If someone managed to contract a wild beast, however, there might be a sliver of hope. My cultivation level, with 7 days of growth, was stronger than most newcomers. With proper use of my web ability, there might be a chance to take on a first-tier monster solo. After thinking things through, I gripped my short blade, softened my footsteps, and cautiously made my way deeper into the forest. Not long after, the sound of faint rustling reached my ears. I stiffened, my senses sharpening, and quietly approached the source of the sound. As I ventured further in, the crushed vegetation and drag marks on the ground showed increasing signs of struggle. Blood smears were left behind in clear trails. Clearly, a battle had just occurred here. Soon, a body came into view. A chill raced up my spine, and I felt my hair stand on end. Instantly, I scanned the surroundings alertly, half expecting the serrated rat to pounce out from the bushes at any moment. Only after confirming no immediate danger did I crouch low and slowly approach. Getting closer, My expression darkened as I examined the body. It had been gnawed beyond recognition. Half the skull was missing, the limbs were severed, and a gaping hole was torn into the abdomen, its organs long consumed. Yet I could still discern from the mangled outline that the victim was a woman. In a hushed voice, I muttered, "The sound is coming from just up ahead. If this is the work of the serrated rat, it's likely busy feasting on other corpses further in. Maybe I should let it eat its fill before setting a trap to take it down in one strike." The thought crossed my mind, and I decided to release my tiny spider to scout ahead. But the moment the spider emerged, an overwhelming desire to feed surged from our bond. Without hesitation, it dashed to the corpse. A chill ran through me. "You want to eat this?" Remembering that it was a contract creature from the dark sequence, I clenched my teeth and reluctantly nodded my approval. With permission granted, the spider's emotions shifted excitedly, and it immediately began devouring the remains. Ding! Your contract creature has consumed flesh and increased cultivation by zero point 0.1 days. Note: contract creatures can enhance their cultivation through flesh consumption, but the total gain cannot exceed the original cultivation level of the consumed target. As soon as the system notification ended, the spider stopped feeding. Consuming a single body had only increased its cultivation by zero point 0.1 days. Given that a newcomer's starting level was just 1 day, the math checked out. It achieved exactly 1/10. I narrowed my eyes. So that's how it gained strength. Taking the spider with me, I pressed forward toward the increasingly audible sound of chewing. Pushing past some underbrush, I finally spotted the serrated rat. The creature was about half my height, with sharp claws and teeth, resembling an oversized rat. It was hunched over, tearing into a meal. Judging by its size, I immediately deduced it was a speed-oriented monster. Otherwise, it couldn't have taken down 3 novice contractors so quickly. Speed type. Quite the headache for someone just starting out. I didn't rush to engage. Instead, I concealed myself in the shadows and observed it quietly. Even though the system here resembled a game with levels and grinding, this was still reality. A monster that feasts beyond its limits will slow down under the strain. If its advantage lies in speed, I'll let it gorge itself first and then test how fast it can still move. This was my hypothesis, an application of my old-world knowledge to probe the rules of this new one. Until I grew strong enough, I wouldn't take unnecessary risks. Like a seasoned hunter, I patiently waited. The serrated rat tore through 2 more corpses, leaving them a grotesque mess, before patting its stomach and retreating into the bushes to rest. My eyes lit up instantly. So I was right. Glancing at the surrounding trees to confirm the terrain, I gripped my short blade and crept closer. The rustling of grass underfoot alerted the creature. It flipped over and locked onto me immediately, emitting a threatening growl. But upon spotting that I was alone, its gaze turned almost greedy, like I was merely the next meal served up to it. I didn't give it the chance to make the first move. Activating my symbiotic ability, I shot a thread of silk from my left hand, anchoring it to a sturdy tree nearby. Using the web as leverage, I swung my body through the air, charging toward the creature with deadly intent. My right hand flashed, the short blade cutting a sharp arc midair. Bloated from overeating, the serrated rat reacted a fraction too late. It had no time to dodge. The force of my blade, boosted by momentum, sliced cleanly through its neck, decapitating it in one strike. A geyser of blood erupted from the severed neck, spurting skyward like a crimson fountain. Killed Tier 1 monster. The Tier 1 serrated rat. Your cultivation has increased by 3 days. I immediately felt a surge of warmth flow into my body, leaving me noticeably more relaxed. With a thought, my cultivation stats flashed clearly in my mind. 10 days. Without hesitation, I summoned my contract spirit, White Weave, the little spider. As soon as White Weave laid eyes on the serrated rat's corpse, its emotions were filled with a deep craving to devour. I said only one word, "Go." In the next second, the little spider pounced on the body, tearing and devouring it eagerly. Ding! Your contract spirit has devoured flesh and blood. Cultivation has increased by 0.3 days. Notice, a contract spirit can enhance its cultivation by consuming flesh and blood. However, the absorption limit does not exceed the defeated target's cultivation power. I frowned. A 10% conversion rate. This means the serrated rat itself had 3 days' worth of cultivation strength, exactly what I gained after killing it. This is just like grinding mobs to level up, I muttered darkly as my gaze deepened. As long as there are enough monsters, passing the 10-day trial isn't impossible. I stared into the depths of the forest, carefully suppressing my footsteps as I continued forward. Yet, after trekking for more than half a day, I hadn't encountered any stronger creatures, or even a single basic monster. My expression turned grim. Something's off. The lack of monsters is far too strange. It seems the hardest part of this trial isn't beating the enemies. It's the fact that there just aren't any to fight. Resources will have to be fought for. At the same time, the chat channel was sizzling with chaos. Have you guys noticed? The monsters are strong, but ridiculously scarce. We've been wandering for hours and only managed to take down 2. Same situation here. At this rate, forget 10 days. Even 10 months wouldn't be enough to clear the trial. What the heck is going on? Does the will of the heavens just not want us to pass this trial? If that's really the case, won't we all just be waiting to die after 10 days? Even those elite players with second or third dimensional contract spirits won't make it, right? Just then, someone dropped a harsher theory. I figured it out. The first dimension is like a beginner's safe zone. To protect new players, monster spawn rates are throttled to the extreme. And there's only one way to break this rule: defeating a boss. The stronger the boss, the more potential the novice village will be deemed to have by the heavens' will. Only then will monster spawns increase. The channel was immediately spammed with a storm of question marks. We have to take down a boss just to unlock grinding? What kind of bizarre system is this? How do you even know that? Spill your source. The reply was blunt. The big shots said so. In our village, we've got 2 elites who contracted third-dimensional spirits, and the info came from them. Right now, those heavyweights are scouring the zone for a boss, trying to unlock monster spawns ASAP, or we're all doomed. Don't just sit around waiting for death. Damn it. What ridiculous mechanics. A beginner's safe zone that forbids grinding and forces us to fight a boss? We're nowhere near leveled for this. Taking on a boss now is practically suicide. Wait, I get it now. This whole setup is rigged to ensure those with third-dimensional contract spirits get to lead and open the path for everyone else. The harder the boss, the more monsters get unlocked. So, doesn't that mean solo grinding is the highest risk? Exactly. Solo grinding has the toughest conditions, but also unlocks the greatest rewards. That said, the first boss is impossible to bring down solo. It's going to require the entire village working together. But don't panic. Once the first boss is defeated, the system automatically spawns new ones, the second and the third, and so on. The chat was bursting with lively debates. Monsters in the novice zone are essentially resources for leveling, but the only way to access them is by defeating a boss. The harder the trial, the greater the amount of resources. As I monitored the channel, lost in thought, a flurry of system announcements suddenly echoed throughout every novice village. Global announcement. The 31st beginner village of the Sakura War Zone has successfully slain a Tier 1 mutated Boar King. Difficulty rating, 2 stars. 1,000 monsters refreshed. 2 new Tier 2 bosses spawned. Global announcement. The 6th beginner village of the Ganges War Zone has successfully slain a Tier 1 mutated Ape King. Difficulty rating, 1 star. 500 monsters refreshed. 2 new Tier 2 bosses spawned. Global announcement. The 31st beginner village of the Samida War Zone has successfully slain a Tier 1 mutated Centipede King. Difficulty rating, 1 star. 500 monsters refreshed. 2 new Tier 2 bosses spawned. So fast, I raised an eyebrow. Why was the Boar King rated 2 stars when the other Tier 1 boss monsters were only rated 1 star? Was it inherently stronger, or is there another factor affecting the rating? The answer quickly appeared in the chat. It wasn't the Boar King being stronger. It's that the Sakura War Zone used fewer people and suffered fewer losses during the fight, thus leading to a much higher difficulty ranking. After seeing that message, my eyes lit up instantly. If I could solo a boss, then wouldn't the difficulty ranking go through the roof? But then again, could I even manage a solo takedown? After all this, just thinking about it, my empowerment return system requires time to accumulate. If I'm unlucky the first couple of days, the benefits might not be great. So on the first day, I didn't even bother hunting monsters. After all, there were swarms of new players running around like headless chickens fighting over bosses. I just needed to keep an eye on the chat channel. Before I knew it, the second day had arrived. With a slight feeling of anticipation, I opened up the system interface. Ultimate Empowerment Return System. Empower your contract spirit with your cultivation level to receive a random multiplier of the cultivation level in return. Requirements. Bond level must reach 100. Usage frequency, once per day. Remaining uses, 1/1. With a ding, the system notification popped up, empowerment successful. My cultivation minus 10 days. Contract spirit, miniature spider, cultivation plus 10 days. The next second, a virtual roulette wheel appeared before me. Spin. With just a thought, the wheel spun rapidly before gradually slowing down, the pointer settling firmly on the number 9. 9x return. A warm surge burst through my body, and my cultivation skyrocketed to 90 days, a full 3 months. I froze for a brief second, then threw a solid punch toward the nearby giant tree. Bam! The trunk didn't snap in half, but it now bore a deep and unmistakable fist-shaped dent. Just the second day, and I already have 3 months' worth of cultivation. In a few more days, accumulating 10 years of cultivation could actually be within reach. I laughed to myself, but there was no way I was planning to coast through this. Cultivation is like leveling up. Only when you reach a sufficient level can you unlock skills and wear better gear. Combat power isn't determined by cultivation alone. To truly become stronger, the fastest path is still hunting monsters, especially bosses. I turned and looked at the tiny spider by my side. Empowered with 10 days of cultivation, its size hadn't changed, but its aura had noticeably evolved. I felt a spark of inspiration and immediately pulled up its stats panel. Contract Spirit, Miniature Spider, by G. Bond level, 100. Cultivation, 11.3 days. Strength, 1.3. Agility, 2. Constitution, 1.1. Spirit, 2.1. Skills, Web Shot, x2. Description, currently extremely weak, but in the future, it may evolve into a creature of nightmare-level strength. What caught my attention wasn't the stats, but the skill Web Shot, x2. This meant that it could now shoot 2 strands of web simultaneously. I immediately gave it a try, raising my hand. 2 strands of web launched in the blink of an eye, fast as darts. Unable to hold back, I burst into laughter. My hunting capabilities had doubled just like that. At this rate of empowerment, by tomorrow, Baiji's web shooting ability would only improve. If it learned to weave webs, I might even be able to set up ambushes for stronger monsters myself. The chat channel in Newbie Village number 803 was an uproar. Some people cursed their horrible luck, lamenting that they hadn't even caught a glimpse of a boss all day. Others talked about how bosses in other villages had already been taken down, with resources snowballing toward the lucky players. Some wise ones chimed in, reminding everyone that Earth had been transformed into the first dimension, and newbie villages were so numerous that it was normal for announcements to be few and far between. But amidst all the complaints, one thing was clear. Everyone was stressed about the same issue. The 10-day assessment period was far too tight. I skimmed the discussion briefly before switching off the chat channel. Counting on others' information was unrealistic. I'd have to rely on my own luck. On the second day, I only ran into one ordinary monster. After killing it, I gained just 2 days' worth of cultivation, not even enough to make a difference. On the morning of the third day, I opened the system again to empower Baiji as usual. This time, the roulette rewarded me with 8x return, instantly propelling my cultivation to a full 2 years. Meanwhile, Baiji's cultivation level had increased from 11 days to 103 days, and its aura had become something entirely different. I could feel the growing energy coursing through me, my excitement building. Crack! I swung my blade, and the resulting sword energy swept outward, carving a crack 5 centimeters deep into the trunk of another giant tree. My eyes sparkled. Only 2 years of cultivation, and I can already release blade energy. If this slash had landed on a real opponent, that tree could have been completely severed. But I also knew that the greater the power, the higher the demand on my weapon. If my weapon couldn't handle the force, it would shatter, just like this short blade I had. If I went all out, it might break at any moment. After testing the blade energy, I shifted my focus back to the spider web. Baiji, now powered by 103 days of cultivation, could shoot 10 strands of web at once. Although I couldn't weave webs into traps, I found creative ways to use the strands more flexibly. In combat, the webs could entangle opponents and restrict their movements, or serve as an escape tool, allowing me to maneuver out of dangerous situations quickly. It might not count as a full-fledged skill, but it was undoubtedly a practical combat technique. With the current setup, my plan became clear: webs for control and blade energy for the finishing blow. Once these two were combined, my combat effectiveness skyrocketed. I was absorbed in refining these techniques, fully immersed in practice. The chat channel of Novice Village number 803 suddenly exploded. Guys, I think I just saw the boss of the Novice Village. It's a massive black bull, right at Crescent Mountain. We just tried to get a closer look, and boom, two of our guys got insta-killed. No way. One shot. What level is that black bull? Did you catch it? Yeah, I saw it clearly. It's a tier 2 mutated black bull. And it has a skill called War Stomp. When it stomps with a hoof, it's like an earthquake. You can't even stand steady. I know what that thing is. It carries the bloodline of the 4th dimension mighty demon bull king. It's not just any mutated creature. It's a vicious beast. To hunt it, you'd need to accept a lot of casualties. Boss hunt is on. Assemble at the Novice Village Square. Target, Tier 2 mutated black bull. We're forming a mega team of at least 2,000 people, led by none other than Yi Xiaoyan himself. Holy crap, you mean that Yi Xiaoyan? The one who contracted with the 3rd dimension skeleton knight. Are we finally going to see the legend in action? Haha, you guys don't know, do you? This might just be our village's big comeback. A Tier 2 mutated black bull is extraordinarily rare. If we take it down, the monsters that respawn here later will definitely yield far more resources than any other novice village. Even more exciting, this isn't just a Yi Xiaoyan-led operation. Another 3rd dimension contract holder will also be joining. What the hell, are you serious? 2 3rd dimension pros leading the charge and a 2,000 player raid? I'm speechless. The chat channel was on fire. With 2 top-tier players involved and a massive 2,000 person team, most newbies believed that unless they were extraordinarily unlucky, they'd probably make it out unscathed. Crowds started pouring into the square, and the actual gathering swelled beyond the planned 2,000 participants. I silently read through the messages. The moment I saw Crescent Mountain and Tier 2 mutated black bull, my eyes lit up. Crescent Mountain wasn't far from where I was. I started to toy with an idea. Should I try soloing it? I was cautious, but the info suggested that the bull's strongest skill, War Stomp, was a ground-based area attack. As it happened, I could use web threads to stay in midair and attack with blade energy from a distance. That move would be essentially useless against me. Even if the bull had other tricks up its sleeve, my mobility meant I could still dance around it, which gave me a significant advantage in the early game. After coming to this conclusion, I immediately set out, heading alone toward Crescent Mountain. On the way, I ran into the same group of adventurers I had encountered 2 days earlier. Wang Ning recognized me and called out, urging me to stop. He told me that I was headed straight toward Crescent Mountain and warned me of the danger, asking if I had gone the wrong way. He also mentioned that Yi Xiaoyan and Mu Wanqing were assembling a boss hunting team in the novice village and asked if I wanted to join them. I responded calmly with, "No worries," telling him I was just wandering around this area. Without waiting for more conversation, I left them behind and strode forward alone toward Crescent Mountain. Wang Ming stared at my disappearing figure and couldn't help but sigh. Why do you even care about him, Wang Ning? His contracted creature is just an ordinary little spider. How far could he possibly go? Honestly, if the monsters in this novice zone weren't so sparse, he'd probably be dead by now. Another teammate urged, "Come on, stop wasting time. Let's head back to the village. If the lady can join Yi Xiaoyan or Mu Wanqing's team, we might benefit just by association." Wang Ming furrowed his brows. "I don't know. I just feel like there's something off about that guy." The lady in their group spoke in a detached tone, saying, "Ignore him. Let's go back to the village." The closer I got to Crescent Mountain, the slower I moved. I summoned Baiji, letting it scout ahead. After being infused with days' worth of cultivation power, Baiji was well beyond most wild beasts in the novice zones. As long as it didn't run straight into the boss, it was unlikely to encounter danger. The rules of this world were peculiar. Before killing the first boss, the cultivation levels of wild monsters were generally very low, just a few days' worth. Only after the first boss was defeated would resources unlock, refreshing the monsters with significantly stronger attributes, maybe 10 or 20 days' worth of cultivation, or even more. The progression would follow this rhythm, each boss kill unlocking another tier of stronger enemies for newcomers to adapt to gradually. So, while Baiji's humble origins might seem unimpressive, with over 100 days of cultivation built up, it was more than enough to crush monsters with just a handful of days' worth of strength. But if it were to encounter a boss, that modest level would still fall short. Upon being summoned, Baiji darted off toward the mountains ahead, disappearing into the distance in seconds. I didn't follow immediately, instead sweeping my eyes across the surroundings, trying to memorize the area's landscape. Without flashy abilities, my combat style required me to rely heavily on terrain, and this was no exception. Before long, I identified an area with rugged terrain and dense trees. "This is the spot," I murmured. Walking over, I raised my left hand and shot a strand of spider silk, anchoring it to a nearby tall tree. Whoosh! Like Spider-Man, I swung into the air, leveraging the tension of the silk. A silhouette swiftly swung up to the treetop. At that very moment, a surge of emotion coursed through our bond as Whiteweb communicated its thoughts. "Boss, I found it." "So fast," I mused, replying telepathically. "Bring it to me." The little spider received the command, and its excitement was almost palpable, as if it truly understood human speech. It spun its silk and darted nimbly through the dense forest, bounding from tree to tree. In just a few moments, it was near the mutated black bull. Whiteweb locked eyes on its target and, without hesitation, used its silk to sling a rock straight at the bull's head. Thunk! A dull thud rang out as the rock struck its mark, and the black bull bellowed in pain. Mo! Red rage filled the bull's eyes as it abruptly honed in on its assailant. The small spider perched on the nearby tree branches. With a booming stomp of its hooves, the bull shook the earth itself. The vibrations caused even the massive trees around it to quiver as if they might collapse under the tremor. It was trying to dislodge the spider by sheer force. But the beast had miscalculated. A spider, of all creatures, wouldn't fall so easily. Whiteweb deftly swung to another branch, sticking to the adjacent tree as fluidly as an acrobat. It once again launched a rock at the behemoth's head. Smash! One hit after another, the incessant provocations drove the bull into an unrelenting fury. Frenzied, the bull broke into a crazed charge, relentlessly chasing the little spider, crashing through the forest like a wrecking ball. Massive trees, even 5 meters wide, succumbed to its sheer strength, splintering and toppling in its path. The little spider, however, danced away effortlessly, swinging like a pendulum between the towering woods. Always just out of the bull's reach, but close enough to bait it, continuously steering the colossal beast toward me. From my vantage point atop a giant tree, I observed as the forest behind me fell into carnage. My expression grew calm and composed as the destruction crept closer. In a blur of movement, Whiteweb effortlessly swung through the air and landed lightly on my shoulder. A moment later, the rumbling roars of the mutated black bull grew deafening. Each stomp shook the earth beneath us like thunder, signaling its imminent arrival. It was here. The monstrous bull stopped just before the tree I stood on, its massive form and bloodshot eyes fixed firmly on me, or perhaps more accurately, on the small spider perched on my shoulder. For a single second, everything was still. Then, it reared onto its hind legs, slamming its front hooves forcibly into the earth. The shockwave from the impact tore through the ground, shattering rocks and sending debris flying. Boss skill, War Stomp. The massive force surged through the ground, snapping the roots of the tree beneath me. With a deafening crack, the tree began to topple. So, this is the power of a Tier 2 boss. A deep thought crossed my mind, laced with tension. As the tree collapsed, I flung my left hand forward, releasing a thread of spider silk that latched onto another tree nearby. Using the momentum, I swung freely through the air, making a sharp ascent like a shadowy Spider-Man against the moonlit canopy. Midair, I reversed my grip and unsheathed my blade. With a single slash, I unleashed a crescent-shaped wave of energy, a blade arc streaking through the air. The attack sliced cleanly across the black bull's back, leaving a trail of blood. A wound had been made, but far from one that would bring it down. The bull roared in rage and agony, dark mist billowing out from its massive frame. Its body swelled slightly, its rage amplifying its already terrifying size. Lowering its head, it once again locked onto me with lethal intent. Then, with wild abandon, the mutated black bull exploded forward. Skill, savage charge. Fueled by its fury, the beast's power surged to its peak. The thunderous crash of its hooves echoed as it charged, pulverizing anything in its path. This was nothing short of a juggernaut, flattening everything with brute force. Giant trees, splintered and knocked aside like twigs. The ground, torn asunder with every step. Dust and dirt billowed skyward like a storm in its wake. But this battlefield had been carefully chosen by me, where trees were dense but open enough to evade, a natural checking ground to neutralize excessive strength. Using the threads of white-webbed silk, I navigated the treetops, constantly shifting my position and narrowly dodging the beast's charge each time. From an outsider's perspective, I probably looked like a monkey swinging easily between the trees, always one step ahead of the wild bull. More importantly, with every dodge, I delivered another blade arc. The strikes weren't enough to be fatal on their own, but were precise and relentless. Those minor wounds began to accumulate across the bull's hide. One cut became two, then three. Soon, its once intimidating silhouette was streaked with bloody gashes. Its deep brown fur darkened by the flow of blood streaming down its body. Minutes ticked by. 10, then 15. Over time, the ferocity of the beast waned. Its speed slowed, its breathing grew labored, and its strikes became erratic, no longer as sharp or destructive as before. Its energy was dwindling. I caught the glint of opportunity in its weariness. Turns out strategic thinking can outmatch brute strength in battle. I murmured under my breath, my composure unwavering. If I keep pressing this way, I can drag it down purely through attrition. I didn't opt for a head-on clash. Instead, I continued to wear it out with patient and methodical maneuvers, sustaining the pressure. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Mooncrest Village, Ye Xiaoyun and Mu Wanqing were leading a newly formed squad of rookie contractees on a boss hunt. Their destination, Crescent Ridge, the very mountain I stood on. As they approached the base of the mountain, the ground began to tremble violently. Even from a distance, they could faintly hear the enraged roars echoing through the air. The entire group halted, wide-eyed and tense. Wait, what's going on? That roar, that's the boss for sure, right? The ground's shaking like an earthquake. Did it already spot us? No, listen. Those sounds, it's fighting something. But how? Could someone else have gotten there first? Impossible. The strongest players in the village are all here in this squad. Who in their right mind would dare solo a boss like that? Then the only explanation is another monster's challenging it for territory. The more they speculated, the less sense it made. Eventually, all eyes turned expectantly to Ye Xiaoyun and Mu Wanqing for guidance. But even they stood in silence, frowning. By the rules of this event, only one boss was supposed to spawn in the village area, leaving no room for rival monsters fighting over a lair. As for the idea of someone possessing the strength to take on the boss all by themselves, preposterous. Equally, so was the notion that one might dare attempt such a suicidal mission. 803 Newbie Village's highest dimensional contract spirit, the third-dimensional beings, were none other than the two of them. Move carefully, everyone. Let's head over and check out the situation, Ye Xiaoyun ordered in a low tone. At the same time, my battle with the mutated black bull was nearing its conclusion. The bull, weakened by the relentless strikes from my blade energy, bore gruesome wounds all over. Blood stained the ground beneath it, and its vitality had dwindled to merely 1/3 of its original strength. Moo! Suddenly, it turned to flee, seemingly intent on escaping. So you know how to run, huh? Smart. I muttered, fixing my gaze on it. Using my left hand, I shot out 7 or 8 strands of spider silk, instantly entangling its massive body. Leaping between tree trunks, I swiftly maneuvered to wrap the silk into a strong, binding hold. The bull, already weakened from severe blood loss and exhaustion, quickly found itself unable to move when caught between the silk and the giant trees. Only then did I finally leap down from the tree. Step by step, I closed the distance to stand before the boss. Blade light flashed. With a sharp swing, I slashed my blade down heavily onto the mutated bull's neck. In the next moment, its enormous head rolled to the ground, and a fountain of blood erupted on the spot. Achievement unlocked. Successfully killed level 2 mutated black bull. Cultivation increased by 30 days. Announcement. Contract holder Su Chun has achieved the first kill on the newbie village boss. Difficulty rating, 5 stars. Rewards granted. Black Iron Chest X1, Skill Book, Savage Charge. Announcement. In the 9 provinces battlefield, newbie village number 803 has been refreshed with abundant monster resources. Second wave bosses, 3 total, have been randomly spawned. Black Iron Chests X10 have also been randomly placed within the area. Announcement. All contract holders in newbie village number 803 will receive double hunting rewards. The crowd rushing over to the scene froze in shock on the spot. We didn't even make it here, and the boss is already down? A 5-star difficulty first kill? That's insane. Who the hell is Su Chun? How many people did he bring? How is it so quiet? Not a single sound. Quick, look. Monster resources have refreshed. And there's a second wave of bosses and black iron chests. But the biggest deal is that hunting rewards are doubled. We're going to score big this time. However, suspicion quickly began to surface amidst the rising excitement. Wait, but hold on. We've gathered a team of over 2,000 people here, basically 9/10 of the village's contract holders. So what did Su Chun use to take down the boss? Could it be his contract spirit is stronger than the ones Yi Xiaoyun and Mu Wanqing have? No way. The announcements clearly state that the strongest contract spirits in our village are only those 2. The chatter grew louder, with excitement tinged heavily with doubt. Yi Xiaoyun and Mu Wanqing exchanged glances, and both saw undisguised astonishment reflected in each other's eyes. This group had practically taken along every capable fighter in the village. Anyone left wouldn't even have had a chance to approach the boss. Yet not only was the boss dead, but someone named Su Chun had also managed to secure the first kill. Stop speculating, Yi Xiaoyun commanded coolly. The battlefield is just ahead. We'll know everything when we see it for ourselves. Elsewhere, I had just slain the boss and had yet to even check my rewards before I felt an overwhelming surge of hunger coming from Baiji, perched on my shoulder. Seeing its excited plea, I chuckled and granted its request without hesitation. In a flash of white light, the small spider leapt onto the corpse of the mutated black bull and began voraciously consuming it. Ding! Your contract spirit has consumed flesh and blood. Plus 3 days cultivation. Plus 30 soul points. Notice, consumption can enhance cultivation, but its limit cannot exceed the original cultivation of the consumed being. Notice, upon accumulating sufficient soul points, a life evolution can occur. I froze at the new information. Soul points. Life evolution. What's all this supposed to mean? I quickly opened my contract spirits panel. Miniature spider, Baiji. Bond value, 100 attribute, darkness. Cultivation, 114.3 days strength, 6.3 agility, 9 constitution, 8.1 spirit, 11.1. Skills, web creation. Soul points, 30. Soul points required to initiate first life evolution, 100. Cultivation must reach 100 years to evolve into a second-dimensional life form. Only now did I realize that soul points were the key to enabling my contract spirit's evolutionary transformation. Glancing back at the mutated black bull's corpse, I used my silk strands to wrap it up tightly and dragged it off to another spot. My plan? To place the boss corpse as bait to lure in more monsters. Half an hour later, the massive group originally set on hunting the boss finally arrived at the scene. When they saw the battlefield, they were utterly dumbfounded. Thousands of trees had toppled, the ground was cracked and uneven, and blood splattered everywhere. It was as though some sort of catastrophic battle had leveled the area. This is the battlefield? What the hell even happened here? What kind of contract spirit did Su Chun have that could cause this much destruction? Look over there, the bull's head. They were all completely hacked off. Just how strong must that person be? The wounds look like they were inflicted by a sharp weapon. Could it be that his contracted being isn't a living entity, but rather an artifact spirit? Maybe it's an artifact spirit, something like an axe or a warblade. No wonder it seems so fearsome. The group speculated as their unease deepened. Yi Xiaoyun and Mu Wanqing exchanged a glance, both visibly shaken. According to the information sent back by my contracted spirit, special contracted beings, such as artifact spirits, these entities generally only emerge in the fourth dimension. It is impossible for them to be cultivated in the first three dimensions, Yi Xiaoyun said in a low voice. The fourth dimension? That doesn't align with the announcement, Mu Wanqing immediately countered. Then how else would you explain the traces left at the scene? Yi Xiaoyun said, fixing his gaze on the clean cuts on the ground. You're not seriously suggesting someone hacked all this apart with a basic starter blade, are you? With the kind of defense this boss has, a starter blade would have shattered first. That's precisely what I can't wrap my head around. Mu Wanqing frowned deeply. If it wasn't a special contracted being, I can't imagine someone cutting off the boss's head using just starter weapons. It's simply impossible. Unless this individual's cultivation is absurdly high, to the point of externalizing blade energy, she reasoned. But it's only been a few days since we started, and resources here are scarce. That makes it even more unlikely. Wait, look at this. What is this thing? It looks like a piece of silk or web, someone suddenly exclaimed. A newcomer had discovered a broken strand of something and cried out in surprise. Web. All eyes followed and focused on the discovery. Could it be? Do you think Su Chun used spider webs to swing around, like Spider-Man, hopping back and forth between trees to exhaust the boss to death? The newcomer speculated excitedly. The more he spoke, the more plausible it sounded. The boss can't fly. If someone takes to the treetops, they could endlessly kite it around. And judging by the scene, this hypothesis started gaining approval. That actually makes a lot of sense. So the trees that were smashed must have been the boss's doing? Most likely. The mutated black bull is massive and purely strength-based. If it charged around like a bulldozer, these trees wouldn't stand a chance. Look at the ground. It's riddled with cracks. It probably used War Stomp and thrashed violently before it died. In other words, its main advantage is on the ground. Taking it head-on would have been suicide. But if Su Chun controlled the aerial field, he could have slowly worn it down. The question remains, how on earth did he ultimately decapitate such a tough-skinned beast? The discussions grew louder, bit by bit piecing together the series of events. But for that final, key moment, no one dared to entertain the idea of externalizing blade energy, let alone believe it. Among the murmuring newcomers, Wang Ning and a few others started feeling uneasy the more they listened. Wang Ning, in particular, vividly remembered that when Su Chun rejected his offer to join their group, Su Chun had admitted that his contracted being was simply a tiny spider. Now, recalling this, combined with the fact that Su Chun embarked on the mission to Crescent Hill alone, a terrifying thought suddenly crossed Wang Ning's mind. It couldn't be. Could it really have been him? He turned to look at the young lady, only to find her staring back at him with the same expression. The two clearly were onto the same train of thought. Do you think? Wang Ming lowered his voice. Yes, it's very likely him, the young lady whispered in response. No wonder he refused to join us. He was hiding such immense strength all along. Wang Ming gulped nervously. Should we try to find him? If we could form an alliance with him, our chances of passing the trial would skyrocket. The young lady fell silent for a moment before eventually replying. Let's not rush. If we run into him, we'll test the waters then. Unbeknownst to me, news of me killing the boss was causing ripples outside. Dragging the corpse of the mutated black bull, I ventured deeper into the forest until I reached a secluded mountain hollow. The boundaries of the novice area were quite finite, and what was referred to as monster respawning seemed more like unlocking new parts of a map instead. The moment the announcement was made, the protective barriers surrounding Novice Village number 803 had visibly expanded outward. With the barrier's extension, the monsters from the newly unlocked territories were now free to roam into the area. Standing in the hollow, I could already hear the relentless roars echoing from these new creatures outside. I glanced at the time. Just about right. I'll sort things out here for now. Once the guided enlightenment process completes tomorrow, I'll venture into the new zone. With that thought, I turned my attention to the skill I had just acquired. Savage Charge LV1. Grade. Yellow max level. 10 has a chance to evolve into profound grade at max level. Level up requirement. Costs 100 days of cultivation to upgrade to LV2. Current effect. Plus 10% speed, plus 10% defense, plus 10% impact damage. Duration. 3 minutes. The effect ends prematurely if interrupted or after the duration expires. Hint: the boost to speed, defense, and damage scales with your personal combat strength. The stronger you are, the more powerful this skill becomes. This was the very first skill I had obtained, but I wasn't overly excitement. This skill feels more like a life-saving trump card for me. With my symbiotic silk spinning ability already in place and my recent mastery of external blade energy release, I'm fully equipped. As long as I make use of advantageous terrain, there's no way I'd be foolish enough to engage monsters head-on. So for now, Savage Charge doesn't seem particularly useful. However, this could entirely change my combat strategy. As I acquire more skills later on, there's a good chance Savage Charge could become part of a powerful combo chain. My thoughts quickly shifted to the treasure chest in front of me. Treasure chests are categorized into 7 tiers: black iron, silver, gold, diamond, violet gold, legendary, and divine. Interestingly, they align with the 7 dimensions of the world. I pulled the chest open, and information presented itself before my eyes. Black iron chest consumable rare. Hint: opening this chest provides a 98% chance of yielding non-attribute equipment, ungraded, basic level skills, or rare items. There is a mere 2% chance to acquire yellow grade equipment or equivalent level rewards. This gave me a clearer understanding of the equipment system. Gear with specific attributes is referred to as graded. The lowest tier starts at yellow grade. Items without attributes, like the dagger I currently carry, are just considered ordinary weapons. The two are worlds apart in quality. Still, the black iron chest only offers a 2% chance to summon graded equipment, a shockingly low probability. But, gritting my teeth, I muttered, even if it's slim, I'm opening this thing. With a thought, the chest began glowing. Ding. Opening successful, 2% chance triggered. You've obtained a refined battle axe. I was stunned on the spot, before a flash of excitement appeared in my eyes. Really? I actually hit the 2% jackpot? This is pure luck. Refined battle axe yellow grade. Damage plus 27. Attributes: bleed. Upon a successful strike, inflicts continual bleeding, bleed plus 5, which stacks until the target succumbs. Description: forged from unique materials, exceptionally sturdy, and capable of enduring the force of a being with 500 years of cultivation. At that moment, reading through its attributes made me grin ear to ear. Just what I needed. I had just complained about the low damage and poor durability of my dagger, and here I was with a weapon that exceeded expectations. Admittedly, I don't particularly favor axes as weapons, but in these early stages, using this for transition purposes will do just fine. I raised the battle axe and swung experimentally. Unleashing my cultivation power, the energy burst forward. A crescent-shaped energy slash flew out. With a thunderous bang, the axe strike cleaved into a distant boulder, splintering it into several large chunks. Compared to the dagger, the power was on a completely different level. Day 4. The imbuement ritual began. For the past few days, I had been feeding White Weave, my little spider companion. When I summoned her this time, she climbed onto my palm on her own. A flash of white light ensued, and my cultivation energy began surging rapidly into her. This imbuement process was far more intense than last time. The little spider grew rapidly under the light, soon reaching the size of a tennis ball, looking quite similar to her parent spider. Ding. Imbuement successful. Your cultivation energy minus 2 years. Contracted companion's cultivation energy plus 2 years. Current cultivation, 2 years, 3 months, and 13 days. With my cultivation momentarily drained, I felt a hollow pang in my chest. In the next instant, a grand spinning wheel appeared before me. Rebate. The wheel spun wildly before stopping at the 10x slot. Ding. Rebate successful, 10x bonus received. Current cultivation, 21 years. As the system notification echoed, a tremendous heat wave surged into my body. In a blink, My dantian seemed to transform into a swirling vortex, stirring my true chi into a semi-liquid state. True chi liquefaction? It appears once cultivation surpasses a certain point, this shift naturally occurs. Bringing my focus back, I turned my attention to the battle axe in my hands. I channeled the condensed 20 years of cultivation energy through my arms and into the axe. Immediately, blinding white light erupted from the weapon. Boom! As I swung with all my might, a massive crescent slash tore through the earth. The surge of axe energy carved a violent fissure into the ground, stretching dozens of meters deep. Even the trees standing near the edge of the strike, untouched by direct impact, had their bark shaved clean off with leaves scattered and branches snapped. Once the power dissipated, the scene before me was nothing short of awe-inspiring. A canyon-like rift now stretched across the terrain. This is what 20 years of cultivation energy can produce? Incredible. With the addition of new skills, this level of power, it's mind-blowing. Excitement flooded my gaze as I turned toward White Weave. Pet status, White Weave. Small spider bond level, 100. First dimension life, form cultivation energy, 2 years plus. Strength, 31 agility, 38 constitution, 30 mental, 43. Skills, silk spinning, LV.100. Soul value, 30/100. Achieve 100 soul points and 100 years of cultivation to initiate the first leap into the second dimension. Though possessing 2 years of cultivation energy seems decent, the stats weren't overly astounding apart from increased silk production. I understood something clearly. Even a wild wolf or lion with a mere few days of cultivation energy in the first dimension could pin this little spider to the ground with ease. It's not. It's not putting in effort because its foundation is just too weak. But I don't mind. Even something born weak can become strong. I've got a cultivation rebound system, and the one thing I don't lack is cultivation energy. As long as I collect enough soul points and keep leaping forward, this little spider will eventually evolve into something extraordinary. Weak. Little one, I'm curious to see what kind of monster you'll eventually grow into. Maybe one day, you really will climb up to the 7th dimension and become king there. I stroked it, and the little spider in my palm let out a soft zzz sound, baring its fangs as though responding to me. Let's go. Starting now, it's your time to train as well. I gestured toward the mutated black bull's carcass we hunted down yesterday. Baiji immediately understood my intent. In the next moment, it reluctantly spun out its silk, tying up the massive black bull carcass, as large as a hill, and began to drag it forward with great effort. I smirked slightly, following behind at a leisurely pace. The moment we stepped into our freshly explored zone, the air around us grew heavier. Growls and roars of monsters echoed around us, and even the ground trembled faintly in the distance. It was all clear and palpable. This was a real grinding area. Simply because I had leveled up rookie village number 803 to a 5-star area, the number of monsters in the new area was just absurd. I glanced down at the pint-sized Baiji, stubbornly hauling the black bull's carcass forward, and my smirk grew wider. Still so stubborn? Is this your way of challenging me? Once we reached a terrain that was ideal for an ambush, I suddenly spoke. This is good, stop here. I'll take over from here. Baiji immediately came to a halt, turning back to look at me and visibly sighing in relief, almost human-like. I lightly tapped its head with my finger, then turned my focus to the black bull's corpse. A flurry of axe strikes later, the carcass was cleaved into dozens of chunks. Even after half a day, the mutated black bull's body hadn't started to rot. But with its dismemberment, fresh blood began to spill out and seep into the ground, a dense stench of blood spreading through the air like an open invitation to the monsters nearby. I had been curious. Could a boss's corpse actually serve as bait? Baiji alone could gain cultivation energy just from eating it, so surely other monsters wouldn't resist this kind of delicacy. Once the setup was complete, I shot up a silk thread, propelled myself, and perched on a tree towering dozens of meters high. Using the spider's silk, I secured myself against the tree trunk and closed my eyes, feigning sleep. The lookout duty, keeping an eye on the prey, was handed off to Baiji. Time ticked on, and finally, movement stirred below. A pack of wind wolves followed the scent of blood, charging over. There were at least 40 or 50 of them. Leading them was a massive Wind Wolf King whose size rivaled that black bull from earlier. Its eyes glowed a sinister red as it locked onto the chunks of beef strewn across the ground, drooling with greed. But they didn't rush in at once. Several wind wolves circled the area, scanning for signs of an ambush, while the Wolf King stayed back, holding firm, its caution as sharp as ever. The moment my little spider lookout detected movement, it promptly woke me up. I glanced down, and live information immediately popped into my head. Underscore Wind Wolf, Tier 3 Beast. Swift speed, razor-sharp claws and fangs, naturally cunning. When faced with a stronger enemy, they scatter and rely on the special scent of the Wolf King to regroup. Underscore. I felt a moment of intrigue. It was almost like the scan skill you'd find in games. Higher levels allow you to discern the traits of lower-tier beasts. Just then, the Wind Wolf King let out a sudden howl. Its pack of 40 or 50 wolves launched into action, descending upon the chunks of black bull meat and forming a tight circle as they tore into the feast ravenously. The Wolf King still made no sudden moves. It waited, scanning its surroundings in cautious silence, before leisurely stepping forward to join the feast only once it was confident there was no danger lurking. A cold smile curled on my lips. So careful, perfect. I was waiting for this very moment when its guard dropped. After all, this one was the system-generated second rookie boss. In the next second, with a sharp hiss, my spider silk shot forth. Using it as leverage, I launched myself from the tree, shooting through the air like an arrow loosed from a bow. My Danteon energy surged into my battle axe, the blade suddenly glowing a blinding white. Mid-air, I raised my axe high, aiming straight at the feasting Wind Wolf King before it could react, and I brought it down with devastating force. The massive arc of light from the axe seemed to split the air itself with explosive power. With a resounding boom, the downpour of axe energy obliterated the feasting wolf pack, leaving them no time to even yelp before they were ripped into shreds. Underscore system notification. Successfully slain Tier 3 Beast, Wind Wolf. Cultivation energy increased by 5 days. Underscore system notification. Successfully slain Tier 3 Beast, Wind Wolf. Cultivation energy increased by 7 days. Underscore system notification. Successfully slain Tier 3 Beast, Wind Wolf. Cultivation energy increased by 6 days. Underscore. A rapid string of notifications appeared. That single strike cleared out more than half the wind wolves in one blow. The remaining wolves instantly went into panic, their fur bristling in terror as they scattered in every direction. As for the Wind Wolf King, it was even more shameless. Without so much as a glance at me, it bolted like a streak of green lightning, terrified out of its wits, turning tail and fleeing. I ran, swift and decisive, moving so fast it was nothing like the behavior of a leader. This was the survival method of wind wolves: surround and kill when they could, and scatter immediately if overpowered, only to regroup later through the alpha's scent. But I had already anticipated that it would bolt. The moment my axe descended, my sights were firmly locked onto the wind alpha. A few strands of web shot out, slicing through the air with sharp whooshes, swiftly wrapping around its legs, forcibly slowing down its speed. Whiteweave followed up, spitting out more webbing to intercept the fleeing wolves, tangling them one by one while anchoring the other ends securely to nearby trees. Through the seamless coordination between us, a human and a spider, none of the wind wolves escaped. They were all pinned in place, struggling futilely. I jumped down from the tree, gripping my axe tightly, and began chopping. Blades of white light flashed one after another, each strike exploding on impact with a burst of force. When the chaos finally subsided, the ground was soaked in blood, chunks of flesh strewn across the area like a grotesque slaughterhouse. Successfully killed Tier 3 Beast, Wind Wolf. Cultivation increased by 5 days. Successfully killed Tier 3 Beast, Wind Wolf. Cultivation increased by 7 days. Successfully killed Tier 3 Beast, Wind Wolf. Cultivation increased by 6 days. Successfully killed Tier 3 Boss Wind Alpha. Double rewards credited. Cultivation soared by 28 days, then 25 days. System announcement. Contract holder Su Chun has successfully slain the second round Tier 3 Boss Wind Alpha. Difficulty rated 5 stars. Rewards, plus 10 speed. System announcement. Monster spawn resources in Novice Village number 803 of the 9 provinces battle zone have been doubled. Just as I finished cleaning up the wind wolves, a new announcement came down. But this time, it wasn't broadcast across all dimensions, only within the vicinity of Novice Village number 803. That meant people in other zones hadn't realized the second boss had already been taken down by me. As soon as the announcement dropped, the chat channel for number 803 lit up like wildfire. Holy crap, another boss? Su-chun, are you even human? It hasn't even been that long. His strength is ridiculous. What kind of creature did he contract with? Something 4-dimensional? 5-dimensional? Su-chun, please make an appearance. I need to kneel before you. I'm a girl. Sweet or sassy, I can be both. Just say the word, and I'll make it happen. Stop the groveling. Double monster resources just activated. Our village is like it's got cheat codes on or something. Double XP and now multiplied resources? Passing the assessment in 10 days actually feels doable. Don't slack. Form teams and grind hard. Let's make number 803 the envy of everyone. The chat was flooded with players forming groups. Teams began marching en masse toward the freshly spawned areas. Unbothered, I didn't open the chat channel. I had no idea the outside world was in an uproar. After tidying up the battlefield, I glanced at White Weave, who looked eager to move. With a slight nod, I gave the signal to go ahead. In the next moment, White Weave leapt to the corpse of the Wind Alpha, as if instinct had taken over. Ding! Contracted beast consumed blood and flesh, gaining double rewards. Cultivation plus 5 days, soul value plus 40 points. Tip: consumption can boost cultivation but cannot exceed the consumed target's level. Tip: soul value accumulation enables life evolution upon reaching certain milestones. By claiming the first boss kill in this novice village, and at 5-star difficulty at that, the Will of the Heavens directly unlocked rewards, activating double XP for the region. During the assessment period, all gains made by contract holders and their contracted beasts would be doubled. This was why White Weave, consuming the boss's flesh, could instantly gain a hefty 40 soul points. As for my own soul points, they were now at 70. One more boss kill, and White Weave would have enough to undergo its first evolution. No need to rush with cultivation. Another 2 or 3 days, and I could make up for any gap. On my side, I'd already saved up 21 years worth of cultivation. All I needed was one more flood of system-refunded cultivation, and by tomorrow, I'd have enough for Little Spider's first leap in evolution. Initially, I thought this novice assessment would be impossible to clear. But now, armed with my system's quintuple boost mechanism, I could pass even while taking it easy. Farming monsters didn't meaningfully boost my cultivation in the short run, but it was still necessary. After all, skills, weapons, and rare items mostly dropped from monsters. After finishing up at the battlefield, I prepared for my next wave of enemy draws. I spat out strands of webbing, wrapping up chunks of wind wolf flesh piece by piece, threading dozens of pieces along a single strand. From a distance, they looked like strings of blood-red skewers. I made about a dozen such neatly strung strips in one go. White Weave copied me, spitting its own webs and threading up the rest of the meat chunks. Soon, the forest bore witness to an unsettling sight. A strange duo, a human and a spider, moving deeper into the woods with bloody trails of skewered flesh dragging behind them. The rich scent of blood wafted all around, an outright provocation to whatever beasts lay ahead. After walking for who knows how long, I stopped in a clearing. The towering trees had thinned out here, replaced by dense thickets of shrubs that had been wildly trampled and flattened. It was as though something massive had repeatedly bulldozed its way through. I stared hard at the disordered traces, a sudden unease gripping my heart. What could it be? The scent of wind wolf meat. Can it lure it out? I scanned my surroundings, starting to deliberate. There weren't many big trees here, significantly reducing my advantage with spider silk. However, judging by the strength of the wind wolf pack, the second wave of monsters was unlikely to pose a serious threat. With 20 years of cultivation and an elemental battle axe in hand, I felt confident. Even if it came down to a head-on confrontation, I wouldn't back down. After thinking it through, I decided to give it a shot. If the boars were too overwhelming to handle, I could always retreat using Savage Charge. With a speed surge lasting 3 minutes, it would be enough to rush into the distant forest over there, my true battleground. Without hesitating further, I got to work. I strung pieces of wind wolf meat together with spider silk, piling them up. The bloody aroma exploded instantly, carried away by the wind in all directions, enticing everything in its path. It didn't take long before roars echoed ahead. The ground began to quake, as if countless hooves were thundering in a wild stampede. Not long after, a group of massive, bristly wild boars stormed into view. Their bloodshot eyes burned with ferocity, as if they aimed to tear apart everything in their path. There were easily over 100 of them. Leading the group, the boar king stood out dramatically, its tusks stretching several meters long, bristles like steel needles, and its frame many times larger than that of the previously mutated black bull. A single hit from it, and even if I didn't die, I'd be left with half my life shattered. One glance at it, and a set of data popped up in my mind. Mutant Boar King Boss Tier 4 Strength Type. Incredible strength and defense, notoriously short-tempered, with a heightened territorial instinct. Any intruder in its line of sight triggers it into a rampage. When enraged enough, its combat power surges by an additional 50%. Even the Lion King avoids direct confrontation with it. These creatures operate in herds and practically have no natural predators in this region. As the information flashed before me, I smirked with anticipation gleaming in my eyes. The little spider on my shoulder raised its head to look at me, utterly perplexed. I spoke calmly. When you've grown strong enough to crush your enemies, a lot of those tricks become unnecessary. Like now. Watch closely. As my words dropped, the chi within me roared to life, elevating my aura stage by stage as immense power surged into my right arm. In the next moment, my battle axe began radiating a dazzling light. Swoosh. Taking a step forward, I didn't bother using any movement abilities. My raw explosive strength alone propelled me forward at such speed that my figure blurred into a flicker. The mutant boar king was infuriated, letting out an ear-piercing roar while commanding the charge. Over 100 boars roared in unison, stampeding straight for me. The earth trembled as the brush was crushed to debris, dust spiraling upward like a cavalry horde bearing down upon my position. Just before the collision of our forces, I swung the glowing battle axe, sending out crescent-shaped energy waves. Explosive impacts tore through the ranks ahead. Boom, boom, boom. The leading boars were instantly sliced apart, their bodies shredded as blood and flesh scattered like confetti. Their tough skin and defenses meant nothing against my 20 years of cultivated chi-infused axe strikes. Within moments, dozens had fallen. In my mind, system notifications chimed rapidly. Successfully killed Tier 4 Beast, Wild Boar. Cultivation plus 9 days. Successfully killed Tier 4 Beast, Wild Boar. Cultivation plus 12 days. Successfully killed Tier 4 Beast, Wild Boar. Cultivation plus 11 days. When the dust settled, the brilliance of my axe dimmed, and over 100 wild boars lay slaughtered at my feet. But then roar. The mutant boar king's anger skyrocketed upon witnessing the scene. It entered a berserk state, seeming to shake off all sensations of pain. Its attack, defense, speed, and stamina all surged simultaneously. Its body swelled even further, ballooning several-fold until it towered 7 to 8 meters tall. Blood-red energy surging through its bristles caused them to stand upright like steel needles, glowing faintly with crimson light at the tips, as though the energy inside had broken through its flesh. With an enraged bellow, a crimson streak shot toward me. The mutant boar king had activated its skill, Savage Charge. While it was the same technique, this boar's strength and speed far exceeded the previous mutant black bull. Standing directly before it was akin to facing a fully loaded dump truck barreling down the highway at 180 miles per hour. If I didn't dodge, I'd be reduced to pulp in the next instant. The mutant boar king charged like a mad beast. I narrowed my eyes, gripping the axe tightly with both hands. My chi erupted completely within, detonating like fireworks. Even without a fancy named skill, as the force surged into my arms and flooded the blade of the axe, its glow expanded wildly. From a distance, the weapon in my hands now resembled a massive 7 or 8 meter long great axe. Come, let's see if I can shatter that hide of yours in one strike. I roared as I brought forth the massive axe light, slashing downward with full force. It crashed down like the collapse of the heavens, aiming for the charging boar king. Boom! The axe light collided head-on with the savage charge, the impact shaking the ground beneath us. My eardrums buzzed, vibrating with a strange numbness. The shockwave detonated, spiraling into a storm that shredded nearby shrubs and scattered pieces of debris and flesh into fine dust in an instant. I was flung backward violently by the force, sent tumbling dozens of meters before the ground beneath me seemed to plow open like a freshly tilled field. Thud! The heavy sound of something massive hitting the ground echoed in my ears. The very next second, blood rained down like a torrential downpour. System alert. Successfully slain Tier 4 boss, mutated wild boar king. Cultivation increases sharply. Acquired skill, iron hide bronze bones. Global announcement. Contractor Su Chun has slain the Tier 4 boss of round 2. Difficulty rating, 6 stars. Rewards, Constitution plus 20, Strength plus 20. Global announcement. To all contractors within 9 states battle zone, Rookie Village number 803. Monster resources have doubled. Hunt rewards have been increased. Inside the bustling 803 Rookie Village, players grinding through mobs went dumbfounded. The global chat exploded instantly. What the? Su Chun killed another boss. Is this guy a professional boss snatcher or something? Ahaha. Resources doubled again, and rewards, too. Isn't this basically triple XP? I don't care what Suji looks like. From today onward, I'll light incense for him every single morning. Yo, is our rookie village hacked or what? Back then, I thought big bro Su Chun wiped that first boss with a group run. But now I'm pretty sure this guy did it solo. No squad's been spotted organizing hunts. This is definitely a solo run type of craziness. I mean, look at us. We've had monster resources multiplied a few times over in just a few days. Triple XP. Does any other rookie village even stand a chance? Everyone, focus and grind hard. Su Chun literally dropped a massive blessing onto our laps. If we still fail the newbie evaluations after this, we're flat out pathetic. We, Rookie Village 803, are officially the strongest. Forget other villages. Hell, we're the strongest in the entire first dimension of Blue Planet's battle zones. In an instant, the chat channel burned bright with fervor, and the name Su Chun surged onto an untouchable pedestal. Meanwhile, in a different grind zone, Wang Ming stared at the chat updates with wide eyes before turning to glance at the young miss beside him. Miss, he muttered, Su Chun took down another boss. If only we'd recruited him into our team back then, the young miss sighed bitterly. Our cultivation levels would have skyrocketed months ago. Another member spoke up to relieve the tension. We kinda can't blame ourselves for that one though. I mean, think about it. Didn't the guy say his contracted spirit was a spider? Like, who the hell would take that bet? Exactly. We were all rookies just out of the village. No one knew any better, and what would we have done? We couldn't risk pulling a deadweight. Then, someone whispered nervously. But isn't this a bit too insane though? A spider spirit taking down a boss. Even the 2 powerhouses in our village with third dimension spirits probably can't pull off something like this. But he did it alone. I'm telling y'all, Su Chin's hiding some massive secret. This is way beyond lucky breaks. At that moment, a voice cut through the chatter with a sharp question. Do we know Su Chin's the same guy from back then? What if it's someone else entirely? For a fleeting moment, silence fell over their group. Even the young miss furrowed her brows, lost in thought. The details that tied me to the first boss kill, the mutated black bull, were tenuous, at best. They saw me from a distance during my trip to Crescent Hill right before the black bull's death. And later, traces of webbing showed up at the scene of that boss kill. These coincidences had been stitched together into a shaky assumption. But let's be real. The system announcement clearly stated that the top 2 powerhouses in 803 Newbie Village were Yi Xiaoyan and Mu Wanqing. Their contracted spirits were from the third dimension, and even they didn't have the confidence to solo a Tier 4 boss. So who exactly am I? And why would anyone believe I could pull this off? The more they analyzed Su Chun, the more puzzling this enigma grew. Until I made a public appearance myself, all speculation would inevitably remain flawed guesswork. Elsewhere in the battlefield, Yi Xiaoyun, wielding his skeletal knight-contracted spirit, had just cleaved through a lesser mob. And yet his expression darkened the moment he heard the announcement. A solo kill. A tier 4 boss. How is this even possible? Could the announcement be wrong? Could it be that my covenant spirit and Wanqing's aren't even the best ones in this village after all? The creeping doubt twisted his thoughts into knots. Mutual disbelief echoed loudly in Mu Wanqing's team, too. This day marked a turning point. A day where the name Su Chun was indelibly etched into the minds of every contractor within Rookie Village 803. Not that I gave a damn about any of it. Having just slayed the mutated wild boar king, every bit of my focus was glued to my spoils of war. Among them, Ironhide Bronze Bones, level 1 yellow tier. Effect: upon activation, skin hardens, bones strengthen. Defense increases by 30%. Slashing reduction, minus 10%. Upgrade requirements: 100 days of cultivation. Higher cultivation scales defenses exponentially. Though it wasn't an offensive ability, its defensive potential was undeniable. And frankly, I couldn't be happier. My attack power is just fine for now. Thanks to the daily refunded cultivation boost, I was already leveling up at neck-breaking speed. The real issue was my survivability, defense, agility, anything that bought time to stay alive. Just as I basked in the satisfaction of my new skill, a notification ping interrupted my thoughts. Get up. Ding. The contract spirit has devoured flesh and blood. Cultivation increased by 15 days and gained 120 soul points. Notification: devouring can enhance cultivation, but it will not exceed the level of the consumed creature. Notification: once enough soul points are accumulated, a life ascension can be performed. I was momentarily stunned. Why is it so much this time? It didn't take long for me to figure it out. According to the announcement from defeating the boss, rewards were doubled. This was the second time rewards were doubled. Counting the previous time with the mutant Black Bull, all gains from monster hunting by contractors and contract spirits in Newbie Village number 803 had effectively tripled. That's why this time, when Baiji devoured the flesh of the mutant wild boar king, the benefits were even greater. Adding what we've saved up before, Baiji now has 190 soul points in total. Just a little more cultivation, and the first life ascension would be complete. This is actually exciting. Baiji wasn't just a life form from the first dimension. Its life level was even lower than other life forms of the same dimension. In simple terms, it was as weak as an ant. Normally, it would be impossible for it to ever ascend its life level, let alone transform into a second dimension life form. But me? I've got this top-up rebate system. This thing, it's basically forcefully smashing Baiji's limits into oblivion. Still, the question remains, can life ascension truly make up for its innate flaws? No one can say for sure. After all, this world is as unfamiliar to me as it is to Baiji. To uncover its ultimate secrets, I must first survive and grow strong enough that no one dares to touch me. I snapped out of my thoughts and glanced at the sky. It's getting late. Let's stop here for today. Come on, little one. Let's find a place to bunk down for the night. As if it understood my words, Baiji leapt onto my shoulder in one swift motion. Not long after, I climbed up a large tree. Using spider silk, I secured myself to the trunk the same way I'd done before and closed my eyes to rest. Baiji, however, didn't have such a luxury. As a contract spirit, its job was both simple and brutal, keeping watch. It stared at my peacefully sleeping form, raised a tiny claw, and waved at me with an absurd level of human-like expression. Then, unwillingly, it found a spot on me to perch itself. Resting? No. Its eyes remained alert, scanning the surroundings for anything, ready to pounce and tear apart anything that dared approach. Perhaps because this was the mutant wild boar king's territory, other monsters typically wouldn't dare encroach. The night was unnaturally quiet, with even the usual wild beast growls barely audible. When morning came, sunlight filtered through the leaves and shone on my face, slowly waking me up. The moment I opened my eyes, though, I saw a spider the size of a tennis ball dangling above my head. A smirk curved on my lips. You kept watch all night. Good job. Want to rest in the contract spirit space for a while. Hearing this, Baiji immediately shook its head, retracted its spider silk, and scurried over to a nearby branch. Its stance was clear, not going back. All right, all right, no going back then. I chuckled and gestured for it to come over. Only then did it hop back onto my shoulder. Next, it was time for the daily top-up ritual. With a thought, I placed my finger on Baiji's head. Whoosh! A hum echoed as my Zhenqi cyclones began to whirl violently, a burst of radiant light exploding around us. The cultivation I had accumulated over more than 20 years flowed into Baiji's body like a dam bursting. Ding! Cultivation transfer successful. Your cultivation, minus 21 years. Contract spirit Baiji's cultivation increased by 21 years. Current cultivation, 23 years, 5 months, 18 days. The moment my cultivation was drained, it left my chest feeling heavy, my entire body hollowed out. The next second, a large wheel appeared before my eyes, showing various rebate multipliers. Rebate. The wheel spun wildly, slowing down bit by bit until stopping firmly on 5x. Ding. Rebate successful. You have received 5x return. Current cultivation, 105 years. On the 5th day of top-up rituals, my cultivation finally surpassed the 100-year mark. The moment my cultivation spiked, my Zhenqi cyclone rapidly expanded, growing to 5 times the size it was when confined to my mere 20 years of cultivation in an instant. I took a sharp breath and immediately pulled up my personal stats. Name, Su Chun. Cultivation, 105 years. Contract spirit, Micro Spider Baiji. Shared abilities, Silk Spinning times 300. Skills, Brutal Charge LV1, Iron Skin LV1. Weapon, Elaborate Battle Axe, Yellow Grade. Combat rating, 113 stars. Overview. With a cultivation surpassing a century, you have officially entered the ranks of cultivators. You are no longer an ordinary human. 113 stars. This must be a comprehensive assessment of cultivation, skills, and weapons. Combat techniques excluded. A chilling look crept into my eyes as my mind started calculating. I might be able to exploit terrain and spider silks to punch above my weight against stronger monsters. But if I ever encounter a flying beast, my current strategy would be rendered useless instantly. This world, twisted and distorted as it seems, still cruelly maintains its equilibrium. To tip the scales, I need to adapt. Properly adapt. The cycle of life and its overwhelming constraints smothered me like an invisible weight, especially those creatures who had turned combat into an instinct. Encountering one was practically a death sentence. I shifted my focus away from personal introspection and turned my attention to my contracted spirit's stats panel. Ultra Miniature Spider, Shirashiki. Bond value 100. Dark Sequence. First Dimensional World Life Form. Life Transition Criteria met. Initiate transformation to ascend. Cultivation, 23 plus years. Attributes. Strength, 221. Agility, 238. Constitution, 230. Spirit, 243. Skill, Silk Spinning. Soul value, 190. Hint. 100 soul value equates to a century of cultivation, unlocking eligibility for the first life transition to become a second-dimensional life form. Summary. Even the humble can grow strong, but only if it survives. Friendly reminder. The cultivation cap for first-dimensional life forms is 150 years. Rare species can exceed this limit. The higher the cultivation, the more it compensates for innate weaknesses during transition. At that moment, after skimming through Shirashiki's stats, my expression darkened as realization dawned. The system's message this time was harsh, painfully truthful. Shirashiki had indeed met the requirements for its first transition, but its cultivation was only 128 years. Trying to evolve now wouldn't adequately bridge the glaring gaps inherent to her species. A standard first-dimensional species caps at 150 years. Only rare species break that glass ceiling. In other words, even if Shirashiki ascended to a second-dimensional life form now, she'd still likely find herself the weakest in her tier. With just 128 years under her belt, there was a significant shortfall compared to the ceiling of 150 years. Evolving with mediocre potential would mean falling further and further behind the naturally gifted powerhouses of her rank. Thus, the only option was to wait until the threshold was maxed, push her cultivation to the limit first, then let her ascend. Luckily, As her contract holder, I controlled the timing of her transition. There was no urgency to roll the dice now, when waiting could yield much better odds. I immediately dismissed the idea of forcing her to evolve. One more day. Tomorrow, I'll infuse the necessary elements, max out her cultivation. Then, and only then, will she ascend. I muttered under my breath. It had been 6 days since the global contract realm on Blue Star was activated. The real turning point for beginner village number 803 had been when I claimed the head of our first boss. And so far, I remained the only person to have exceeded 10 years of cultivation. The chat channels were, as always, a cacophony of chaos, players endlessly discussing cultivation methods or scrambling for clues about potential boss spawns. After all, I'd appeared briefly yesterday and openly declared that anyone providing valuable intel would be rewarded. Chat channel. Guys, anyone spotted colony-type species? Our squad's been combing the maps all night and found zilch. Nope. Do you seriously think we'll stumble upon a boss even Sugod hasn't located yet? I ain't giving up. Scour the area again today. We have to find it. Your cultivation up yet? Clock's ticking. We're already on day 6. 10 years of cultivation? Uffed. Haven't you figured it out yet? Sugod's literally our village's cheat code. With him around, we're never short on resources. Plus, triple loot bonuses? Name a better deal, right? Help Sugod track that boss, let him take it down, and watch the XP multiplier kick in again. This is big brain strat, my dudes. Sugod eats the steak, we sip the soup. Time's tight, but the payoff's worth it. Let's hustle. The chat was almost unanimous. To them, I was their village's built-in hack, someone to milk for gains. Everyone was counting on me to eliminate another boss and stack the buffs again. For my part, I couldn't help but feel a bit amused as I lurked in the channel. This lot actually has the gall to treat me like some glorified XP generator. I muttered under my breath. Not that I'm complaining. It's a fair trade. Win-win. I get free labor while they get scraps of the glory. Satisfied for the moment, I closed the chat. Of course, I planned to check back periodically, just in case someone stumbled across a genuine lead. If they did, I'd head over and swoop in for the finishing blow. For now, I focused inwardly, acclimatizing myself to the newfound centennial energy coursing within. I had ideas to refine my combat techniques, starting with what I deemed my deadliest current weakness, flight. In my eyes, aerial mobility was the ultimate pivot point of battle. Controlling aerial vantage translated directly to tactical superiority. Flying didn't guarantee victory, but it was undeniably a backbone of battlefield dominance. Planting both feet firmly on the ground, I took a deep breath, channeling energy into my entire body before funneling it concentratedly into my legs. With an explosive push, I launched myself skyward, the ground beneath me shattering to create a crater. I shot upward at breakneck speed, soaring over 30 meters in an instant. But once the upward momentum receded, I began plummeting back to Earth. In desperation, I redirected energy toward the soles of my feet, hoping to mimic the stabilizing propulsion of jet-powered flight. However, the energy flow misfired. Instead of steadying me, it created chaotic bursts of light, throwing me into an uncontrollable spin midair. Within seconds, I slammed straight into a thick tree. Activating my protective aura reflexively, I emerged from the impact entirely unscathed, though annoyed. Scowling, I muttered to myself, still not there yet. Flying is a lot harder than I thought. It's not just about channeling energy through my legs. Every part of my body needs to work in tandem. Otherwise, the force gets thrown off balance. I sat cross-legged on a tree branch, finally pinpointing the core of the problem. That day, I practiced using every single inch of my body, hands, feet, skin, even down to the pores, all trying to exert force. The jungle echoed with relentless booming sounds. If I wasn't snapping massive trees in half, I was reducing boulders into fine powder. The commotion was so loud that it drew hordes of nearby beasts toward me. While using shouts to intimidate the forest, I physically fought them off, forcing them to retreat. Meanwhile, Baiji perched far away on another tree, watching. Its small face was blank, but its eyes looked like it was secretly learning from me. Threads of spider silk floated and spun from its body, sometimes rigid, sometimes soft, clearly mimicking my efforts and practicing control over its power. One strand shot out suddenly, coiling around a massive tree. The silk stretched taut like a steel wire. Then in the next moment, it snapped tight, slicing the tree cleanly in two with surgical precision. The cut gleamed smooth as glass, as if a sharp blade had cleaved it. Baiji stared at its handiwork with pride, its mouth curling up into a satisfied grin. The sky gradually darkened, and I finally stopped to rest. Unexpectedly, Baiji spat out more silk, weaving it into a hammock-styled web stretched neatly between two trees, essentially a perfectly crafted single bed. I paused in surprise. This is for me. Baiji climbed onto the web, sitting at the edge like a proper host, then patted the spot to signal for me to lie down. As soon as I lay down, Baiji crawled atop me, snuggling against me with a look of deep contentment. I frowned. You're not going to stand guard tonight? What if something happens? Before the words could leave my mouth completely, threads of silk shot out from Baiji's body in all directions, spreading far and wide. With a quick sense check, I discovered that each strand carried a trace of Baiji's energy. It clicked instantly. It had a plan. The silk wasn't just a material, it was a medium. With its energy infused into the threads, anything approaching within range would immediately alert Baiji. At that moment, I finally understood something. Microscopic control. To see and feel every detail, to have precise control over every ounce of power. That way, no energy gets wasted needlessly. But how does it manage to do this? Is it truly instinctual? The more I thought about it, the more I became convinced the key was in the silk. The silk was practically an extension of its body. Its control over energy, combined with that natural ability, made fine-tuned control almost effortless. But humans don't have that kind of inherent gift. The only way for us is through long and arduous practice, training until the motions become second nature. No choice but to work harder. If I can truly master microscopic control, I'll be able to manipulate my inner energy however I want. Mumbling this to myself, sleepiness soon washed over me, and I quickly fell into a deep slumber. Perhaps it was the silk bed, but I hadn't slept that well in a long time. When morning rays touched my face, I gradually woke up. The moment I opened my eyes, the sight above me was all too familiar. Baiji's small, pale figure, dangling directly overhead. As always, Baiji had woken up before me, hanging close, staring at me with its blank, curious eyes. This had almost become a morning ritual by now. But today, something felt different. When Baiji looked at me, its gaze occasionally flickered with emotions I couldn't quite grasp. Curiosity, shyness, and maybe admiration? On a dark-themed spider, such expressions were almost impossible. And yet, here they were, etched on its strange face. Now fully awake, I greeted it offhandedly. Morning. Slept well. That simple phrase seemed to strike a nerve. Baiji froze for a split second, then visibly tensed up. In the blink of an eye, it yanked on a thread of silk and zipped off to another tree as though fleeing. I sat there, baffled. What's with this spider today? Is it embarrassed? I quickly dismissed the thought. A spider embarrassed? What kind of ridiculous idea was that? It had to be my imagination. Shaking my head, I glanced toward the distant tree where Baiji still peeked at me. I waved at it. Come on over. We still have those energy infusions to get through. Plus, there's something even more important for you to focus on. The moment I mentioned energy infusion, Baiji's eyes lit up like fireworks. Whoosh! In one leap, it propelled itself straight into my arms, nuzzling against my palm like it couldn't get enough. The 7th day of energy infusions. At this point, I had the process down to an art, and Baiji had become as eager as an addict getting its fix. I placed my palm on the top of Baiji's head, and a river of terrifying inner energy surged into its body. Raw energy was one thing, but the higher-tier true essence was a completely different beast. A chasm separated the two. For most creatures, their bodies wouldn't stand a chance. They'd explode on the spot. True essence was wild, violent, and inherently resistant to foreign bodies. But Baiji and I were bonded, a perfect 100. The essence I transferred into it was like returning home. There wasn't an ounce of rejection. As the transfer deepened, Baiji began to undergo another transformation. Within its body, there was now the faint formation of liquid essence. The vortex, an overwhelming, ferocious force surged through every inch of its body, washing over and forcefully compensating for its innate shortcomings. In just mere moments, its presence had soared to a staggering degree. Although it had yet to undergo its first life evolution, it was already edging toward the realm of rare species in the first dimension. This phenomenon was rare, an atavistic regression. That mutant black bull from before had dominated countless bosses at the same level solely because of a trace of atavistic lineage. And now, with a single surge of millennia-old true essence I've infused, I managed to directly activate the ancient bloodline within Baiji. On her back, intricate and variegated patterns swiftly spread out, and even her once innocent, adorable little face took on a mysterious, eerie quality. As the infusion concluded, a notification sound exploded in my mind. Ding! Contracted beast's atavistic regression triggered. Ancient bloodline revived. Life origin of the first dimension replenished. Notice, the cultivation limit for common species in the first dimension is 150 years. Although rare species can regress their form, even they cannot contain a millennium's worth of cultivation. From this moment onward, 100 years of true essence will be lost per minute unless a life evolution is initiated. Initiate the life evolution immediately to avoid further waste. My heart clenched. No matter how rare Baiji's species may be, it couldn't possibly contain the immense thousand-year cultivation within her. A life evolution into the second dimension was an absolute necessity to prevent the cultivation from wasting away in vain. After deciphering the notification, I ignored my post-infusion fatigue and rushed to summon the contracted beast system template. With a single thought, I was ready to press and initiate the life evolution for Baiji. Just as I was about to make the decision, a low humming sound filled my mind, and two options suddenly appeared before me. Option 1. Atavistic mutant black demon spider. Option 2. Small-scale cataclysmic toxic spider. Yet the very next second, the infusion rebate's spinning wheel crashed down from nowhere and rudely obscured my choices. Instinctively, I tapped on the spinning rebate wheel, and at that exact moment, I distinctly felt Baiji had already chosen her evolution form on her own. Ding! Due to your hesitation, your contracted beast has autonomously selected its evolution path, small-scale cataclysmic toxic spider. I nearly stomped my foot and cursed aloud. Damn it! I clearly wanted the atavistic mutant black demon spider. The rebate wheel spun with clank after clank as Baiji, now cocooned tightly in webbing, began her transformation. Her cocoon shone with a mesmerizing, multicolored glow. After a few rotations, the wheel's pointer finally came to a stop. Ding! Infusion rebate successful. Received 3x rebate. Current cultivation, 3,150 years. A torrent of terrifying power surged directly into my body. The liquidized vortex of true essence tripled from its original scale, and I couldn't suppress the sharp intake of breath from the sheer pressure. I raised one hand and clenched my fist, compressing 3,000 years' worth of true essence into a single, concentrated sphere within my palm. In one casual strike, a devastating beam shot forth, disintegrating everything in its path. Tree trunks, boulders, all rendered to dust in an instant. When it reached a small hill in the distance, it detonated with a thunderous explosion, reducing the hill into nothing more than rubble and debris. Dust billowed into the air. The scene of devastation was unbearable to look at. With this power, I can probably crush anyone in the first dimension without ever using a skill. My eyes sparkled with excitement. Yet, I quickly tempered my enthusiasm. The first dimension was just a low-plane reality. Above it were the second dimension, the third dimension, and realms that extended far beyond comprehension. This level of cultivation might let me run wild in the first dimension, but in higher dimensions, it was insignificant. Some beings naturally emerged with an overwhelming advantage. They could cause mountains to crumble and earth to rend with just a casual motion. Take dragons, for instance. Their sheer size alone was enough to topple an entire mountain through brute force. That's the crushing disparity between life planes. A gap thousands of years' worth of cultivation wouldn't even begin to fill. However, with the support of proper skills, cultivation could be unleashed to its fullest potential. So now, more than the infusion rebate I'd gain each day, what truly concerned me were skills and combat techniques. After pondering for a while, My gaze once again fell upon Baiji, my contracted beast. Through the tether of our contract, I could distinctly sense the profound transformations occurring inside her. The vibrant, multicolored brilliance leaking from her cocoon illuminated the surrounding area in dazzling hues, as if heralding the birth of some extraordinary treasure. But the more enchanting the light became, the more unsettling it felt. Plants caught beneath the radiance withered and died at alarming speeds. Even stones disintegrated into fine powder. My expression darkened on the spot. Yet, strangely, the glow had no effect on me whatsoever. In my eyes, it was simply Baiji's aura leaking out. Small-scale cataclysmic toxic spider, huh? What kind of creature will she turn into in the end? I murmured softly to myself. If not for the sudden appearance of the rebate's spinning wheel, I would have long decided on the evolution path of the mutant black demon spider for Baiji. I'd seen that path before. Its atavistic level was incredibly high, capable of at least scratching the gates of the fourth dimension. But now, it was too late to change anything. My momentary hesitation had allowed Baiji to make her own choice, a choice far beyond what I expected. This oddity weighed heavily in my heart, making me even more intrigued by what lay ahead. Time marched on, and the light from her cocoon grew ever more radiant. Baiji's transformation lasted a full half-day. Finally, under my watchful gaze, the vibrant cocoon began to crack and peel away piece by piece. What emerged from within was a smaller, more slender form. Her body was now adorned with interwoven violet and crimson patterns, exuding an even more intense aura of malevolence and wildness. But I froze on the spot, utterly flabbergasted. Her size. It unexpectedly shrank. It was the size of a soccer ball before, and now it's back to the size of a tennis ball. Thankfully, that adorable little face of hers is still the same and hasn't transformed into the ferocious, monstrous look of a spider. Just as I was staring at her in amazement, the little one wore a triumphant expression. She even raised her front limbs and waved them at me, almost as if she wanted me to praise her. I couldn't help but chuckle and playfully scolded. "You're getting cocky, aren't you, little one?" Right after, I quickly opened the contract spirit interface. Miniature Doom Venom Spider Shirai. Bond level, 100. Dark Sequence, Second Dimension Life Form, Rare. Cultivation, 178 plus years. Millennia-long cultivation poured into compensating innate deficiencies, successfully activating ancestral bloodline. Stats. Strength, 32-21 Agility, 32-38 Constitution, 32-30 Spirit, 32-43. Abilities. Curse. Inflicts misfortune on enemies, leading to sudden death. Webbing X 1000. Spider Silk carries venom and the power of curses. Traits. Poison Resistance Level 1, plus 10% permanently. Corrosion Resistance Level 1, plus 10% permanently. Venom Level 1. Poison can be released from any part of the body, including silk and strength attacks. Soul Value. 90. Requires 1,000 points plus millennial cultivation for a second evolution into a third-dimension life form. Summary. With a successful reversion to its ancient ancestry, it has become a rare creature of the dark sequence. Reading every entry of the stats panel, I felt my excitement peak. I initially thought this evolution would at most bring Shirai into the second dimension rank. But apparently, the millennial cultivation energy I poured into her unleashed her dormant ancestral bloodline, enabling her to evolve prematurely into a rare creature. Her innate weaknesses have been compensated comprehensively, and her next evolution already promises an enormously high potential. The detailed stats displayed in front of me more than validated how much she's transformed. Shirai has gained her innate ability, curse, and on top of that, 3 additional skills: poison resistance, corrosion resistance, and venom. But what amazed me the most was her enhanced spider silk, now capable of carrying attributes and effects. This is akin to the difference between a basic, attribute-less weapon and a fully enchanted gear. Basic gear can't handle attribute infusions, but enchanted gear can channel true essence and powers into it, making its damage amplify exponentially. Biting back the grin trying to surface, I immediately opened my own character interface and honed my focus on my symbiotic ability. Symbiotic abilities. Webbing X 1000. Note. Current cultivation allows selection of 3 contract spirit abilities for usage. Even though my cultivation has surpassed 3,000 years, the usable choice limit for symbiosis hasn't increased. In other words, I could only pick 2 additional abilities. Symbiotic choices are most likely limited to skills. Curse, being a bloodline talent, is firmly tied to Shirai's lineage. I can't access it without having spider blood myself. As tempting as Curse was, I accepted its exclusivity as a reality. After some thought, I quickly settled on 2 other abilities. Venom Level 1. This would allow me to enhance my attacks with toxins and even get an edge in long-range combat using web-based attacks. Corrosion Resistance Level 1. This would reinforce my weapons and web constructs against corrosion. This ensures that they won't degrade or fail me in critical moments. I decided not to pick Poison Resistance Level 1 for now since my combat style is leaning heavily towards long-range engagement, and I can minimize getting hit. On top of that, I have been working on cultivating a shielding true essence technique. Once I master it and envelop my entire body, I'll have my defenses covered. Comparatively, corrosion resistance is just more practical for my plans. With time, as my cultivation grows further, additional symbiotic slots will inevitably unlock, and I can grab poison resistance later. Besides, Shirai is permanently bound under my contract. No way she's running away. Locking in my selections, my combat arsenal expanded with 2 sophisticated new abilities. With Shirai's successful ancestor reversion, my overall fighting power made a sharp leap forward yet again. After calming down slightly, I shifted my attention to the chat channel. Let's see if there's any word on that boss. Time to tune in. It didn't take long before the channel was a flurry of activity. Guys, holy crap. I just saw a giant snake out in the wild. Scared the hell out of me. It's absolutely massive, at least dozens of meters long, coiled around this ancient tree. PSSH, it's just a snake. What's the big deal? Share the coordinates. I'll lead a team to take it down. Dinner's on me tonight. Snake meat for everyone. Dozens of meters? Just how big exactly? Are you exaggerating? Could it be a boss? A boss? Are you dumb? Didn't Sue mention that bosses are usually the rulers of group species? A lone snake couldn't be a boss. It's just illogical. Yeah, good point. Group hierarchy ties in with that boss thing, so this snake probably isn't some big deal. Let's go hunt it down. Don't get cocky. Team up, team up. Even if it's not a boss, it's still not something for just 1 or 2 of us to handle solo. The coordinates are up north by the edge of the newbie village. Keep walking and you'll see it. Y'all better be cautious. Sue's theory about group dynamics and bosses has been spot on so far. Still, the mutant black bull, which was our first identified boss, wasn't part of any group dynamic either. Relax, what's there to fear? Worst case, we test it. If it's really a boss, we'll sound the alarm here. Sue can always jump in for backup. And just like that, the chat channel exploded with a storm of chatter the moment the coordinates dropped. A group of people immediately teamed up and sprinted northward. After reading the message, I exited the channel without hesitation, my expression darkening. A giant snake, dozens of meters long. Even if it's not a pack creature, it's highly likely to be a boss. Earlier, I mentioned that a king of the pack is more likely to be a boss, mainly to point everyone toward an easier hunt. That didn't mean solitary monsters couldn't be a boss either. Hearing about a creature of this size now, my first instinct was that this was most likely the target. I looked towards the north with determination. Let's go. Time to work. Witezi leapt onto my shoulder, waving her sharp claws. In the next moment, I channeled my true energy through my legs and launched myself upward with explosive force. With a deafening boom, I shot forward toward the north like a cannonball. Only a crater 5 or 6 meters wide was left where I had stood. Despite not yet mastering the art of flight, the sheer burst of my true energy propelled me at breathtaking speeds, tearing through the air so intensely that I was leaving sonic booms, even cloudbursts, in my wake. Each leap carried me hundreds, if not thousands, of meters forward, and within moments, vast distances stretched behind me. I surged through the jungle with relentless speed, the sonic booms echoing through the forest without pause. The pace was so intense that Witezi dared not mess around. She clung tightly to my neck with her spindly legs, even reinforcing herself with webs to avoid getting hurled off. After nearly 30 minutes of this relentless sprint, I finally arrived in the area mentioned in the chat room. Something felt off about the place. The disarray of gigantic trees in the surroundings was gone. Instead, what stretched ahead was an eerie grove of willows. And they were massive. Most trees stood between 50 and 60 meters tall. At the center of the grove, the largest one there towered over the rest, reaching a height of over 100 meters. The wind brushed through, causing the willow branches to sway in unison. The atmosphere was unsettling, a chill crawling under my skin. I didn't rush in blindly. Instead, I stopped at the edge of the grove to observe my surroundings. Is the giant snake boss here? Just as I prepared to step forward for a closer look, Witezi hopped down onto the ground. Without saying a word, she flung out a massive web of silk. In the blink of an eye, the silk solidified into sharp blades, stabbing straight ahead into the grove. The web pierced through the willow trees like they were made of paper, without resistance. I blinked, realizing what she was doing. She's using her webs to scout for danger? Not one to fall behind, I mimicked her actions. Raising my left hand, I shot out a thread of silk and infused it with true energy. It instantly hardened, slicing through the obstacles ahead with terrifying precision. What's more, I could sense everything the silk came into contact with. It was as if I'd grown an extra set of eyes to explore the path ahead. After a brief analysis, I made my decision. These willows are strange, but so far, there's no sign of immediate danger. I turned to Witezi. Let's go. It seems safe for now. The moment those words fell, just as I took my first step forward, a deafening explosion erupted from the depths of the willow grove. It was followed by a series of sharp snaps, akin to steel cables being violently severed. Witezi stumbled backward, startled. Her webs, which she had just cast moments ago, had been snapped apart. Sensing the unusual disturbance, my eyes lit up. Is that the boss? It's in there. Without wasting another second, I prepared to charge in and finish this elusive boss off. But before I could act, a vibrant, multicolored blur darted past me into the grove. Clearly agitated by having her webs broken, Witezi let out an annoyed click, plunging into the fray without even a word of warning. I chuckled to myself. It seemed that her recent evolution had come with quite the temper. Still, I trusted her combat prowess and followed close behind. I hadn't even ventured far in when the ground began to quake violently. Looking up, I saw massive willow branches descending like countless green whips, crashing with devastating force. The lands trembled beneath their impact. Deep fractures tore across the terrain as though an earthquake had hit. Frowning, I muttered to myself, "These are clearly willow branches, but wasn't the boss supposed to be a snake?" Driven by a growing sense of unease, I surged ahead, pressing into the heart of the chaos. Arriving at the battlefield, the scene before me left me completely stunned. Witezi's figure danced through the air, as if gravity held no sway over her anymore. Without any external force aiding her, she zipped and twisted with breathtaking speed, almost as though flying. Thousands of willow branches lashed at her. She dodged every single one with uncanny grace. And amidst this flurry of evasion, she was weaving a complicated trap, her threads stealthily coiling around the branches like a carefully laid snare. Moments later, she soared into the sky before pulling all the threads taut at once. With the sound of snapping steel cables, the silk strings transformed into razor-sharp wires. The branches were severed cleanly, sliced apart like butter under a knife. A rain of shredded greenery cascaded down from above. In less than a minute, Witezi had reduced the towering willow into a barren, stripped trunk. Though the immediate threat was neutralized, Witezi remained suspended midair, her form shrouded in a mysterious aura. Then, she began intoning strange, disturbing syllables that echoed with a sinister tone, almost chant-like. Chills ran throughout me. I could feel its presence. A dark, uncanny force blanketed the stripped willow tree below. Cracks began to spiderweb across its surface, the sound sharp and eerie. My heart sank. Could this be a curse? This was my first time witnessing a power so strange. A mere incantation was enough to unleash such destructive force. It left no trace of origin, no clear path to defend against it. If something like that were to target me, the consequences would be unimaginable. But my thoughts were interrupted. While I was still piecing together the situation took a sharp and sudden turn. The bare willow tree began to radiate light, and in the next moment, a massive serpent burst forth from its upper canopy, its gaping maw flashing toward Witezi with terrifying speed. The shift was so abrupt that even Witezi, who had been reveling in her apparent triumph, was caught completely off guard, completely oblivious to the danger. Idiot! My gaze turned cold. In an instant, energy surged into my legs. The ground shattered with a deafening roar. I propelled myself through the air, rescuing Bai Ji in the split second before the snake's head clamped down. Landing firmly, I hoisted Bai Ji onto my shoulder. Combat is a fight to the death. Until you're absolutely sure the danger has passed, don't act so smug, I snapped coldly. Then, lifting my gaze to the distance, I locked eyes firmly on the massive serpent ahead. Blackrock Python Mutant Tier 5 Rare Power Type, Enchantment Type. Extremely cunning, skilled in seduction and disguise. Creatures it enchants may even become its parasitic hosts. The prompt also noted that this snake was incredibly tricky to deal with. An encounter with it often meant facing two bosses at the same time. Now, I understood why people in the chat channel initially mentioned a snake, but then talked about a willow tree. Turns out, this creature can turn strong adversaries into its parasitic hosts. Considering that, the massive willow tree nearby was clearly no ordinary creature. It had to be boss level as well. So the final boss of the second round is a twin entity, huh? A glint of interest flashed through my eyes. The heavens will that created this world truly made it bizarre. As I observed, a cold light flickered in the Blackrock Python's eyes. The next moment, its gaping mouth spewed forth thick black fog. The fog rapidly spread, plunging the surroundings into darkness. The willow began thrashing its branches wildly, the rustling sounds sending chills down one's spine. Seeing this, my lips curled into a cold smirk. Just as the prompt said, this beast knows it can't win and wants to use this opportunity to flee. Too bad. Do you really think you can escape? I had long since laid my silken strands all across the area. Every movement of the Blackrock Python was firmly within my perception. Spewing fog to create darkness was only its ploy to cover its retreat. But I had never planned on giving it such a chance. I raised my battle axe, channeling my energy through my arm and into the axe. The very next moment, I swung fiercely toward the direction my threads had pinpointed. The arc of the axe slashed through the black fog, ripping it apart and tearing through the dark veil like shredding the night itself. With a thunderous crash, the willow grove was cleaved open, a 1,000-meter-long chasm carved into the earth. The Blackrock Python mutant was severed in two, dead on the spot before it even had the chance to struggle. Successfully killed a Tier 5 rare boss, Blackrock Python mutant. Gained cultivation, plus 89 days, plus 87 days, plus 88 days. Obtained skill, Chaos Black Fog. Announcement, Contractor Su Chun has slain the second-round Tier 5 rare boss, Blackrock Python mutant. Difficulty rating, 7 stars. Rewards, Spirit plus 40, Strength plus 20. Acquired 10 reputation points. Announcement, Monster resources in Newbie Village 803 of the 9 provinces battle zone have doubled. Rewards from killing monsters are now multiplied by x1. Heavens will notification, reputation rankings have been activated. Contractors can now view the reputation rankings of their respective newbie villages via their attribute templates. Heavens will notification, currently, only local newbie village rankings are available. Top 100 rankings will be displayed. At the same time, a group from the northern side, who had just assembled to hunt down the giant python, abruptly stopped in their tracks the moment the announcement and notifications echoed. The makeshift team immediately erupted into an uproar. What the hell? The god Su just slashed the boss again. The Tier 5 rare Blackrock Python? Wait, is that the same one we were searching for? If it is, then his timing is impeccable. He's totally screen-stalking the chat channel to beat us to the punch. Honestly, even if he was, I'm not complaining. If he hadn't gone, we'd probably be wiped out. Exactly. Being a sneaky player is still better than us charging in and dying. Thanks, God Su, for saving our lives. Only now did the group break out in cold sweat, realizing that a Tier 5 rare boss would have left them no room for escape. Meanwhile, the chat channel buzzed even more. Sweet. Monster resources and rewards doubled again. That's a solid 4x overall now. Newbie villages and other zones have nothing on us. Thank God for Su-chun. Without him, our newbie villages trial would leave most of us failing. The reputation rankings just opened, and guess what? Su-chin's locked in at first place. He's the only name on the list. Positions 2 through 100 are blank. Well duh. The rankings must only update if you kill a boss. The real question is, what's reputation good for? Could it work like in games, tradable for items? It has to have value. Why else would Heavens will implement it? To look pretty. Boys, let's not. Standing there in a daze? We've got over 3 days left of quadruple XP. Start grinding now. Don't waste the leads Sushin worked so hard to secure for us. Absolutely. Let's grind. Our newbie village 803 must pass the assessment as a team. The chat channel exploded in a frenzy, and every contractor in the village went crazy, charging out to farm monsters. But right then, the announcement from the will of the heavens echoed once more, hitting everyone like a thunderbolt. Announcement: third wave bosses are refreshed. Total 5. Hint: due to the increased overall strength of newbie village 803, this wave will also include elite creatures in addition to the bosses. Hunting elites will grant reputation and may drop skills or equipment. As the announcement ended, the protective light barrier around the newbie village expanded outward. It was like the map had updated, unlocking a new area. Suddenly, piercing, hair-raising screeches came from the distance, chilling everyone to the bone just by hearing them. Holy crap, the map expanded again. And now we've got elite monsters, too. This is insane. This is awesome. Quadruple XP and elite drops? Forget competing with Sushin for the bosses. We can just farm elites for skills and gear. Forming a party. Everyone meet at the village square. Groups expanded to 10 players. I'm making a team too. If you want to pass the assessment or farm skills and gear, head to the square. We're heading out in 10 minutes. The chat filled with party recruitment messages as everyone got hyped, their eyes gleaming with excitement over skills and equipment drops. Meanwhile, the multiple announcements had captured my attention. My gaze darkened slightly. So it's the third wave now. Not only are there more bosses this time, but they're also adding elite mobs. With every wave, the map expands. That inherently means the difficulty is ramping up. Just 3 days left. I wonder how far I'll get through these waves. I know full well that, thanks to the top-up refund system, my power is already enough to crush anything in this first dimension. But the bigger the map gets, the more scattered the bosses become. And the real challenge is, finding them will take longer and longer. If I want to hunt down and take out the bosses quickly, I can't rely solely on myself to map out every area. At most, I can sustain this pace for 1 or 2 more waves. However, if I can rally everyone in the village to work together, the efficiency would skyrocket immediately. I thought for a moment and soon had a plan. I quickly opened the chat channel, scrolling through the logs until I found the guy who first mentioned the mutated black rock python location. Without hesitation, I tagged him directly in the chat. @Weikuin. Hey man, thanks for sharing the boss coordinates earlier. Like I said, there's a reward for it. Here's a precision battle axe for you. My avatar icon flashed in the chat. Instantly, the channel erupted into chaos. Weikuin came out right away, ecstatic. Weikuin. What? Sushin just tagged me. Guys, he really tagged me. Ugh, I'm so jealous. He got a reward just for that. What insane luck. Sushin's gifting weapons now? I'm so envious my whole body aches. If that were me, I'd frame it. Heck, I'd pass it down as a family heirloom. Hey Weikuin, selling? Name your price. Why talk about money? Once we leave here, it's all back to square one. What's the point of money then? The whole channel was in an uproar, but I couldn't care less. I clicked on Weikuin's name, initiated the trade, placed the precision battle axe on the table, and confirmed the deal.